Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, and NB pals. Welcome back to FallapaTWOza 2, a $2,000 Fall Guys Duos tournament sponsored by the community. And oh boy, day number 2. We got 8 teams left from our 32 starting. And like, if the action of the first day doesn't say anything, we're in for an absolute treat on the second day. And brand new matchups and, well, more importantly for right now, brand new commentators joining me in the booth right now. Philly, how's it going?
It's going well today, Dangers. I'm excited for a lot of good Fall Guys action. Hopefully, an exciting victory. We will see who is crowned the FallapaTWOza champion today. And that's that. I miss being in these tournaments and being in that situation, being in a day 2 of a tournament like this. I was in a day 2 last time with FallapaTWOza 1, made it to the finals. And they've got a big day ahead of them. They really do. You went through a lot of mental trauma yesterday, trying to squeak through, some with some handed victories, some with some really nitty-gritty. There it was. Just managed to squeak into day 2. How do you come back from that? How do you reset? Are you doing the same things? Did you eat the same breakfast today? Or did you do the same? Did you go on a walk yesterday and then do it again today? Who knows? But it's exciting to see what these competitors are going to bring to the table.
Absolutely, Philly. Absolutely. And now, you're a pretty decorated Fall Guys player yourself. You've got a Twitch Rivals win under your belt. You've got a Fall Mania win under your belt. Runner up in this FallapaTWOza tournament in the last time. So maybe you have the best insight of just about anybody. What goes through your mind when you enter this high stakes quarterfinals, I guess, situation?
I always think the worst part for me personally, and this has been me with any situation like this in life. The worst part is right before you start that first match. You're sitting there. That's where all the nerves are hitting your body. You're sitting there shaking. Oh my gosh, we're going against XYZ. No matter who you're going against in day 2, they're going to be good. There's no easy victories. There's no, oh, we can kind of brush this off to some extent. It doesn't matter how good you are. Anything can happen. Once you start playing, though, and once that first round goes, you just start to get in that groove. You communicate with your teammate and you just keep naturally playing. Let your hands do the playing. Don't overthink it too much, because once you start getting in your head a little too much, you're going to stumble a little more. So just trust what you're going to do. Trust your movements and you'll probably come out okay.
Honestly, I couldn't have put it better myself. Same things kind of go through my mind in these high stakes situations. You're absolutely right. And we're speedrunners too. Speedrunning is kind of the same thing. Like when you're in a race setting in a tournament or anything like that, you get the implication is always up front that you're super nervous, and then you maybe make a dumb mistake right at the beginning, but then like you kind of fall into place afterwards. And even already, from 32 teams down to 8, even in that original 32, we're already seeing some of that stuff happening. We're already seeing some pretty high intensity matchups coming to some surprising upsets. In fact, let's take a look right now. Let's take a little bit of a recap through the scores here, and we'll take a peek at just how yesterday went down. As you can see, round 1 for Group A here, some pretty dominating performances from Stud City and Virtuous Visitors on the left-hand side. Even 2 peas in a pod. You can see Beartorv and Essence just crushing the crowns all the way through.
Oh, yeah. And these are some teams that you're going to be looking for in today's matchups. And will they still bring these high scores? You're going to be paired up with teams that are also high scoring. The crowns are going to get a little harder to get. As we mentioned before, the nerves are going to increase. How's that going to feel? You could be in the money very shortly, or you could just be going home with nothing. That's going to play a factor as well.
Totally. Yep. It just increases the stakes just a little bit more, right? Yeah, notable team __ upset there in that first round. Moving on to the round 2 in that Group A, and another upset on our bracket here. Stud City getting shown up by our surprise Virtuous Visitors. Now, Virtuous Visitors have a very well reputation in the Fall Guys community. They're hanging around all the streams. They're kind of, stream visiting, as we like to call it. Being a part of the community in a positive way, but, kind of in the background. And this is their chance to show that all of their experience with all of these top level players is coming to a use today as they make it into the top 8.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just so excited for these matches. I can't wait for them to get started. And as you mentioned with Mallet Master, I feel like if you've been to a Fall Guys stream, you've probably seen Mallet Master around, as you just mentioned. And
Absolutely.
he is taking down Stud City. Oh man, have I had some encounters with Stewart and Spark?
Yep. We Philly and I were on a team for a very long time in Ben's Chase for the Crown tournaments. We have 3 crowns to our name in those tournaments, and about the only team that really gave us a run for our money and took some of those championships from us, being Stud City, being these guys from that team, and to see that they were toppled by the stream visiting team is really does go to show that Fall Guys is a game of surprises. Even the best, no matter how many crowns you have, if you get caught on your heels, sometimes it just doesn't work out for you. And on the other side, you got 2 peas in a pod, Bear Torvin Essence, just dominating their performance through not just the round 1, but the round 2 as well. This is going to be a matchup to watch, these 2 Virtuous Visitors versus 2 peas in a pod. Will they be able to pull up another upset, I wonder?
As you mentioned, anything can happen. And Fall Guys is, once you hit a certain skill, you need some things to swing in your favor. There is some RNG, but what I love about these tournament formats, you're going to be in the same lobby. You can't complain too much because you're getting exactly what your opponents are going to be getting, and then you go from there. Who's going to out strategize who?
That's right. You got to roll with the punches, right? Let's take a look at Group B now. This was the first round, and one team that I really want to draw my attention to here is Trippin' X, AAA and Professor X. You can see Professor X was killing it this tournament. Gold crown all the way across the board for his team, just bowling over the Cool Beans team in the first round. You can see a lot of very dominating performances here. The one kind of upset in the bottom right corner, you got individuals just overtaking Positive Vibes. They weren't able to get that double crown in the Jump Showdown in the final round, meaning that Nightwalker and Indo just not able to repeat that 4th place performance this time.
Yeah, not getting a double crown is probably one of the most disheartening things, because most likely it's just that slight input. I know I've worked with Dangerous many times on Jump Showdowns, and I'm usually the one that falls into the slime underneath and fails to collect the double crown for the team. Especially in the tournament situation, a lot of nerves can get to you in that jumps that you're always making. But I'm very excited to see Trippin' X. 4,600 points in round 2 to make it to this round after a 4,300 score in the first round. Incredible performance, and I'd love to see them carry that over. Carry over the momentum.
Let's take a look at the round 2 for this group, actually, now that you say that. Yeah, you can see 4,600 points. And again, Professor X plays 6 episodes in this tournament so far, Trippin' X has, and 5 of the 6 crowns have gone to Professor X. This guy brought his game. He is slaying the crowns all the way across the board. The only crown that's been able to be taken from him is Polio in that round 1 match, as you can see right here, but it wasn't enough to overtake Trippin' X. They are rolling right now. You've got to think, is that momentum going to carry into the second day?
Yeah, and you know that their opponents that we're going to be talking about shortly, their opponents are going to recognize that Professor X has been dominant taking these crowns. Is that who they're going to look at trying to take out more in these situations? If they have an opportunity where they can take out AAA or Professor X, are they going to lean towards Professor X?
You're right. Maybe they've got, and we have to look at their opponents and ask that question, right? Moose and Goose coming in here really strong in their second round, bowling over the individuals with a score of almost double. And you got to wonder, is that part of the strategy? Does one of their players on their team decide, you know what, I'm going to get a little bit aggressive here. I know that my opponents have been doing really well. I need to put a halt in their plans. I need to stunt their plans a little bit. I need to hit the brakes on them so that they can't just keep dominating in the way that they do. Because if you let Professor X get to those finals, he's going to win.
Absolutely. And another thing with Fall Guys, just in general with these tournaments, momentum exists. Once you get that first crown, you get those nerves out of the day. I know it's day 2, and day 1 it's a new day. You still got to build up your momentum. You can try and carry momentum from day 1. It's not easy because there's that time in between. But if Professor X starts off early with a crown in game 1, watch out.
I think you're right. I think he's going to hit the ground running here. Let's take a look at Group C, round 1. This was the second half of our day. And, again, some very dominating performances on the top half of the bracket, but some surprises on the bottom. Silver Snipers and Baby Bear. Beginning was the clutch story of yesterday all day long. It came down to this last episode to make sure that Chloe brought it home for her team. She was in a 1v2 situation against the Silver Snipers, was able to prevent any crowns from happening so that her team moves on to the next round. Same thing happening over in the bottom right corner. Belkin and the crew going into the third round in a tiebreak situation, and Drew clutches out that crown to move on to the next round.
Yeah, no, some very exciting matches there. Whenever it comes down to what feels like a game 7, it's winner take all. That's a whole different situation. That's one that you can't even prepare for in tournaments. I know you felt that situation in your Fall Mania victory. Dangerous, do you want to take us through your mindset real quick in a situation like that where if you win, it's over, but if you lose, you're done?
Oh yeah. I mean, in that situation in particular, it was make it or break it for everybody. And I think that maybe the pressure all across the board, it's just about who, keeps a level head. Who is the one who is going to be able to just put that thought out of your mind completely and just you enter almost like a Zen state. When they tell you when you meditate, you're kind of bringing yourself to a point of mind that is centralized. It's kind of that, but in a competitive sense. Just all of your focus goes into doing what you need to do. You don't even think about the possibilities, the what ifs. All you're thinking about is what you need to do in order to make it happen. And that's how you get those kind of situations done. You can't let the nerves get to you at all. You just kind of have to push through them.
Well, I think Drew Crew took your advice on that yesterday, and it worked out well for both of you.
Worked out well for their round 1, but if we take a look at round 2, you can see that it just wasn't quite enough to overcome Gas, finding themselves in exactly the same situation. In fact, going into round 3 of this matchup, perfectly tied, but it's Be More Royal who takes away the crown in that episode to give his team the win.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. If we look at the other match with Baby Bear and Villains, Baby Bear squeaking out that victory with a big comeback and the crown by Chloe in the third round.
Absolutely crazy match to watch. Yeah, you knew it came down to the crown. Chloe again finding herself in a 1v2 situation in a thin ice. She just holds on long enough to grab the crown, giving her team the points that they needed to win and move on to the second day. It was a crazy match to watch in both regards. It was just so close. Let's take a dip over to Group D now. We'll look at this first round here. Now, the domination from Delete Fall Mountain in the top left there is of no surprise to anybody. Grand Pooh Bear's talking about this team and is recognizing this team as the heel of the Fall Guys community. We obviously lots of love to go around in the Fall Guys community, but if you're going to write a narrative about Delete Fall Mountain, it's the narrative that these guys are like the comparison I made yesterday is like the New England Patriots of the Fall Guys community. They're infamous for being the best all the time. They're always winning. That's all they do. And they have the highest score of this entire tournament with 5,000 kudos.
Yeah, that's first score is absolutely insane. That is looking like a 2007 New England Patriots team right there, where just no mercy on their opponents whenever they had the opportunity. But unfortunately, we all knew how that season ended for the Patriots.
Yep. And looking around, you see a couple other dominating performances and stuff, but the other clutch story of this tournament, along with the Baby Bear, is Team M&M squeaking by in that first round with a clutch crown and squeaking by in this round with a prevention of any crowns. You can see Melody very low on the points. Miggy Moan had to prevent the crown on the Kudos Seekers side to squeak by literally 20 points, less than a medal's worth of crowns there.
Seeing a score that close is always just so fascinating to me. You get into all these situations. It's kind of like when you see that after 2 rounds, it's perfectly tied. It's like, how do we get here? How did this situation happen with all the kudos and all the variations? We got to a situation where we're either tied or a victory by 20 kudos. That's absolutely insane. And Eminem is going into today thinking, okay, We made it through. We can't think about how close that score was anymore because it all starts back at 0-0 today. And that's what matters most.
You got to keep that, you made it by on the skin of your teeth. So you got to do what you can to just bring that the next day. But the story of this side also, delete Fall Mountain. We just called them the New England Patriots, but the New England Patriots just got taken out in the second round by the Young Beans. A little bit of a surprise twist here. Puffly Jig scoring some very impressive race rounds. Chewy Louie with the highest individual episode score yesterday with 720, but it's just not enough if he can't get those crowns.
Yeah, no, Puffly Jig and Wraith, 100%. All eyes now turn to them. You just took out the defending champions. I honestly think that in their situation, typically if you do that, you're throwing your own little parade. Oh my gosh, we just took down the unstoppable force. Typically, if you go straight into the next round, you're probably riding that high a little bit too much. I think the downtime in between actually benefits them. It gives them the time to cheer about it, be excited about it, but enough time to also just settle back down, focus, eyes on the prize. Day 2, let's go.
I agree. Let's take a little peek at the rules right away, right before we get into the action here, just to refresh everybody at home what it is that we're looking at for this tournament. Philly and I are about to run you through these rules right now. It's a single elimination bracket, so no double elimination, no coming back from the dead. It's a kudos-based scoring system, so you're going to be looking to try and grab those gold medals in every episode that you can. Every element of this game is being tested. Your speed, your endurance, and your ability to come out clutch in the crowns.
Yeah, and then if you run into a hacker or if there's a disconnect, you can reset the episode. You're okay to do that because no one likes a hacker. If you see someone zooming in your lobby and you have no chance or they're just flying in the sky, we're not making you play that. Reset. We want to see an even playing field. Also, one of my favorite rules is that multi-crowns will be honored with full kudos. I absolutely love that. Reward it. If you can manage to pull it off, go for it. Get all the kudos you can. Get the extra, pile it on, make them pay.
Yep, rewarding the skill, and we've seen a bunch of situations line up that a jump showdown might end in a double crown, even between two different teams, like on separated platforms. But to this day, in FallapaTWOza history, not a single double crown has been awarded to anybody yet. They just haven't been able to make it happen. Now, matches... Oh, go ahead, Philly. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just going to say the pressure of that situation, too, like when you're trying to double crown and the other person on the other side is your opponent, you feel that's a hard feeling
pressure,
to do.
Right? The pressure is really on, and maybe that's why it hasn't happened. But yeah, we're going to zip through these rules. These teams are just about started up here. So all matches are on the main show. Pretty obvious, pretty self-explanatory. Griefing in team games is not allowed. That's a rule I really like about FallapaTWOza. It's about getting to the finals. That's where all the hype moments happen. There's no fun in throwing those team games just because you can get a strategic edge. There's no benefit in that, and it's way easier when you've got a partner to throw those team games. So no throwing in the team games. You will get a kudos penalty for that. We got the tie breaks. Tie breaks are an extra episode. We haven't seen one of these yet because they're very, very rare, but there will be a sudden death match afterwards to determine the winner. And something that we're going to see today is 5 episodes per match once we get to third place in finals. But for right now, semifinals, quarterfinals, just 3 matches. Let's get into the action.
And now we see a round 1 seesaw with virtuous visitors and 2 peas in a pod. And seesaw, most likely, this is one where you'll be fine. And it looks like we're going to have an easy first place gold for 2 peas in a pod, which is going to be it's a strong start for today. You want to start off. You want to get these golds. If you get a good spawn, you want to take advantage of it.
For sure. Yeah. The good spawns really do matter in Seesaw. It kind of grants you easy access. You don't have to be stuck with the beans who don't know physics from the second grade. But for the most part, it's basically just about getting to the finish line and then hopping on the elliptical for 2 minutes and getting yourself hyped up for the next
I had to hide my face when you mentioned the throwing the team games. I was like, who would ever do that in any tournament situation? I could never.
Yep. Fall Mania, who could ever forget? Who could forget the Fall Mania moments? Philly fan on the elliptical during one of those hoopsie daisies. You love to see it.
Look, there it is, right back there. The perks of being in the basement still. Yeah, drum set and an elliptical. You tell me a better combo.
Yeah, I'll wait. And of course, chat, in typical Fall Guys tournament fashion, you know, we always have this kind of tradition of spam this blank to root for blank. If you have a favorite team out there, we want to see it in the chat. We want to see that hype. We want to see the action. Let us know who you're cheering for.
Oh yes, please. I absolutely love seeing the creativity that comes every Fall Mania, FallapaTWOza, Twitch Rivals, every Fall Guys tournament. You see these chants, and it's amazing. It's so great. And chat, you better bring the hype for FallapaTWOza Day 2. Because this is going to be a great day.
Yeah, we've got the 8 hottest teams here, you know, giving it their all. The cool thing about the matchups here, the quarterfinals, obviously the teams that made it into the quarterfinals last time are probably feeling pretty gutted right now, but 7 out of the 8 teams are brand new faces into a Sunday on FallapaTWOza. The only reoccurring team, Team M&M, we're going to be seeing them play at in just a short hour or so. But tell me what you think about that. You know, we have brand new faces across the board. Only one team remains. If you're Team M&M, what do you think about that?
I think you personally love it. You've been there before, right? Like, this is a situation, you know how to handle your nerves in that situation. It's like any team making it further in their respective sport, wherever you may be. If you have that experience, you have that little bit of an edge because you've been there, you know how to mentally prep for it. But sometimes, and this can never be counted out, if you haven't been there before, you can just straight up be like, we're just going into this, we're winging it, let's go. Let's just keep doing our thing. You don't overthink it. There's nothing to lose. Like, you just especially if you're going up against M&M, because you just look at the matchup and it's like, okay, they've been here before, we haven't. We're the underdogs. Full throttle, let's go, let's get it.
If I remember correctly, your team actually, the Super Bowel Brothers, was the team that put out Team M&M in the quarterfinals last time. If you remember that matchup at all, can you tell me anything about that team? Like, what would you recommend to the team going up against them as advice?
Watch out for them on Jump Showdown. That is the one thing I remember most. Me getting grabbed and griefed on Jump Showdown. I think 2 of the matches, and it was a terrible feeling. I felt bad putting Fi-Fi in a position, being like, "Hey, bud, good need you again." But they're very good. They're good at their races. They're good at their finals. But all competitors are at this situation, right? It's just a lot of it's gonna come down to where you spawn. You know who you're going against is gonna be good at every aspect of this game. You don't make it to round 2 by not being good and not being able to get golds at any given chance.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. You know, when it comes to the competitive, like, I think Grand Pooh Bear put it really well yesterday. He said, this isn't necessarily a game about needing to memorize your strats and getting the muscle memory down or anything. It's like not a speed run, you know? If you come back to a Super Mario Odyssey speed run, not talking from experience or anything, but if you come back to a Super Mario Odyssey speed run 6 months later, you're going to feel kind of rusty. You're going to feel like you don't really know what you're doing. And that's because a lot of the strats are about like training your body and your mind to do the things, but Fall Guys isn't really a game like that. You know, there's a couple of strategies that you just kind of have to have the knowledge about, but the rest of it is just being able to perform. It's not necessarily about having to be technically precise in any way. It's just about overpowering the other team with a bit of logic and a little bit of cunning.
Yeah, and remembering the routes is also big, because when you look at some like Dizzy Heights and all that, you know which route is the best route. We know the beginning and how to go. And then, yeah, like you look for the disc. And yeah, you're right. It's not like coming back from a speed run 6 months later and, I don't know, attempting one of the hardest tricks in the game, 2DSS, and maybe nailing it. I don't know anything about that personally, but I think you do.
Oh, I absolutely do. Yeah, you're right. And lots of time and energy and practice and like effective focus goes into, you know, making those tricks work, right? Yeah. But this is a little bit different. You know, you're getting random games all the time, and you obviously know how to play those games, but adjusting yourself in a competitive setting against another team is all about living in the moment. And I think that, you know, the players and the teams that are able to do that the best are the ones who are winning, which is why we're not seeing those teams that were seeded so highly. We're not seeing the first and second and third tiered teams in this final day right now, because, you know, it doesn't matter how many crowns you're sitting on. What matters is coming in clutch when it matters most.
Yep. For sure. And then also with another factor in this, like even if you have all the routes down, the NPCs, they're going to be different what they're doing every time. You don't know who the other 59 or I guess the other 56 people in your lobby are going to be. You have no idea. They could be anyone, and you probably haven't played against them before ever, and it's just what are their movement tendencies? What are they going to do? You get used to what your teammates or what your opponents are going to be doing after seeing them in the same lobby, especially after the first 2 rounds. You know, if you come across a situation, you're going to be like, they're going to do this again. They're going to do this again. Yeah. Pick up on that. The NPCs, wild cards. No, nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, look at this situation that we have right here. This is really, really risky. Space Rodeo has got to run for the finish, and he's just going to squeak in. Beartorv and Essence coming in first and second. They speed ran that level with no issues, but that Godzilla is going to be an NPC to watch out for.
Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. And I forgot to dive in these situations when you get grabbed at that wall, it is scary because you don't want to be the one to let go. If you let go, you're going to get launched off. But you have to somehow prep yourself to just get there. But the Godzilla is actually out now.
So you know they're happy to see that. Yep, no more griefing from the Godzilla. At least they can breathe a little bit easy knowing that one of the NPCs is out, but they got to watch out for each other, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Professor X, this is the one to watch. You can see on the bottom left corner of the screen, he's the one out in front, has the perfect line, but on his right side there, one of the NPCs kind of joining him at the front of the pack. Is he going to be able to pull out the gold medal here and the important 35 kudos?
Ooh. Man, I absolutely love this map, and I still love seeing the strats that people go with. Are they going to jump over all the springs? Are they going to take the outside route? Are they going to wait like Professor X just did? Are you going to wait for the punch to come out and then try to take advantage? Don't want to risk anything in a tournament. You're going to go a little safer usually, depending on what the situation is. And Professor X gets the gold.
Easy gold medal. Frozen Scout right behind him. Coriano coming in. Trippin' X following suit. Yeah, so that's kind of exactly what we expected to see. Professor X is hitting the ground running. Something I really, really like about that level is that, you know, it's new, right? Season 3 is kind of new for a competitive scene. We've already seen a little bit of sneakiness going on. We've already seen some people grabbing on those like punching fists and flinging platforms, and it's costed somebody a qualification already in this tournament. And the more players that utilize that might work out to their advantage because they'll catch other teams off guard.
Yeah, the early grabs are always going to throw people off, and that's what always threw me off on Jump Showdown. If I was going up against opponents that would grab just a little bit earlier than I was ready for, in my head I was always like, all right, if I'm going to get aggressive, it's going to be in 2 more cycles of this arm swinging around. But my opponents were 1 swing ahead of me. It threw me off because I thought it was still too slow. And just doing that is enough to try and throw off your opponents. So I'm going to be interested to see it if they'll try to go a little earlier than they're used to.
Yeah, even if it doesn't kill them, it gets in their head, right?
Yep, exactly.
And now look what we've got over on this side. We have a 17-man, I believe, Hexagon final. Mallet Master in the slime. Oh, Space Rodeo gets ragdolled.
I got a lot of blue.
Both of them have been eliminated, and now it just comes down to Essence and Bear. Are they going to be able to hold on against the NPCs? Essence misses his dive. It's up to Beartorv. You can see Bear is very slowly diving on those platforms.
Nice. Good comes.
Bringing home the win for his team there.
Yeah, and what Essence did there, fantastic team play right there. Because I think Essence and Bear saw we're the only ones who have this territory. There's one other NPC above us. I'm going to jump off to give you all this space so we don't eat it up as slowly as a team. And that is the teamwork and communication you need if you want to win FallapaTWOza.
Absolutely. Take a visit over to the other side of the bracket here. Trippin' X and Moose and Goose cooperating in a Penguin pursuit, and you know, team games. Competitors, we love the team games,
especially the ones where you jump around.
Yes, this game, you know, it's a little bit infamous for being a little busted, but if you're smart, you know how to kind of get around the jankiness of the desync. You know, if you're just running around and jumping, it's pretty much impossible for people to catch you, but you got to use your game knowledge to your advantage. If I see somebody jumping and running around like that, I try and like cut the corner. I try to dive in front of them and make them ragdoll, and then they drop the penguin. You know, you got to use your knowledge to your advantage. It's not as broken as everybody says it is, because you know, you can make them fall. You can do that.
Yeah, you actually answered my question. As someone who's never really got too good at this mini game specifically, always struggled. Whenever I got it, I was like, wow, I hate this. I hope my team is good, because if I don't get the peg win early, it's probably over for me. I'm going to be running around on a wild goose chase, and I'm never going to get the goose. But you just answered my question about what the strats are. Cut the corners, dive at the knees.
Yeah, I'd say season 3. Yeah, season 3 has been the season of introducing using desync to your advantage. Like we obviously did it a little bit. Like in Hexagon, you'd try and plan your falls to like land right in front of somebody so that they ragdoll because you like land on their head or whatever. But in this season, there's a lot more of that. There's diving in front of people to make them trip and fall. There's like on roll off, you know, maybe if you make your cut across to the other platform at a certain time, you're able to kind of push somebody over and make them ragdoll and fall in the slime. Like using desync to your advantage is kind of a strategy now.
Yeah, and as we go on to the final for round 1 between Trippin' X and Moose and Goose, we have another hexagon, which is something I personally love to see. This is my favorite final. Nothing changed when season 3 came out. I know some people really love Thin Ice, but I just can't get past the original.
Yeah, the OG hexagon is always going to be a classic. Still going to be my finals favorite pick. Every time I see it, I always get excited. And you know, Hexagon in itself is a very strategic final game. You got to be thinking a couple steps ahead, but you also got to be prepared for the moves that your opponent makes. You know, we were talking about this yesterday. It's like playing 3D chess a little bit, you know.
Yep.
Not only are you kind of planning out your moves ahead of time, what you need to do to strategize several moves in advance, but you got to anticipate what your opponents do and change accordingly. You got to be versatile in your strategy. And it adds another layer when you play with a teammate. Like, look at this situation right now. You've got Coriano, and he has got the highest position on the board right now up on the orange.
Yeah, and you saw that Frozen just decided to jump down, saying, I'll leave you the rest of this. No one else is going to take this from us. Another good communicative play. And another thing with Hexagon, and this is what you're going to learn as you keep playing the game more and more for those that haven't played it as much. You just with the NPCs and the styles that you also play against and being prepared. Are we going to play against mostly people that just sprint the whole time? Are we going to play against people that are just jumping and playing the whole game slowly the whole time? You need to be prepared for either, because you could get whatever when you get into a finals. You just never know with your lobby. And now we're in an interesting situation here where Professor X, the Crown King, is running around. They had the highest, but unfortunately, they're going to be running into a situation where they're going to ragdoll to the bottom, and also with Frozen Scout.
Oh, this is an interesting situation. Only 1v1. Trippin' X, Triple A has got a little bit more space than Coriano.
You got this, baby.
There's just nothing you can do in that situation, folks. Triple A had a little bit of a runway, and he's going to be running away with the crown this time.
And the maneuvers that Triple A did there to survive on the bottom level cannot go. You can't go without talking about it. Incredible turnaround, clutch dives, and gives himself the spot to have the stretch, the runway to victory, if you may.
Yep, that's right. Everybody was kind of colluding on the other side, and he had to make a couple tricky jumps to make it happen, but bringing home the crown, we see 2 for 2 crowns at FallapaTWOza this first round. Exciting action.
That's what you love to see. You know, it's funny when the NPCs can like start off a run, but day 2, nah. Day 2, let's get the competitors the crowns. Let's see what these gamers really have. And I'm excited to see what round 2 is going to bring in store for both these, for all these teams.
Both Hexagon finals too. You love to see that.
Oh yeah. I can't. Hexagon's my favorite to watch. It's the only one I've commentated finals wise. So it's my favorite to commentate. It's my favorite to play personally. It's just, if I could just have a Hexagon lobby sync up every time, and Fall Guys is just like, oh yeah, just here's Hexagon. You can only queue up with like 15 people. Give that to me. I'll play it. Yeah. Play that for 8 hours straight.
I would love to have some sort of mini game mode where you can just kind of pick whatever games you want to play and just play those ones. But
it's so good. Hexagon would definitely be top tier for me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Slime Climb as well, right?
Oh yeah. You got to beat the PB.
You got to beat the PP. You got to bump into P2B, as I used to say. Looks like we have all of our scores in. Let's take a peek at the scorecards now.
And we're going to see here that 2Ps in a pod taking a commanding lead over Virtuous Visitors. Now, as we said before, this definitely is not over. A crown for the Visitors can easily swing things back in their direction to bring it back close enough, tie it up. But right now, two peas in a pod, off to a very strong start.
For sure. Yeah, the Virtuous Visitors, you can see their crown totals are a little bit diminished. Barator Essence running away with some of those gold medals in the races where they mattered most. So the distance between the two teams right now, 900-ish points separates the two. So even a crown isn't really going to be enough for the Virtuous Visitors. If they want to make a mark, they have to start getting those gold medals as well.
Yeah. It's all about chipping away, though. Get the crown now. Get some gold medals, steal some golds, get a crown, at least diminish the lead, and then round 3, bring it home. That's what you're doing if you're the Virtuous Visitors. You're scared, but you're good. You just got it going.
On the other side of the bracket, Trip and X and Moose and Goose, a little bit of a different story here. 580 kudos from both teams, from one competitor. And then, of course, you've got AAA with the crown versus Frozen Scout with just a 545. And, 545 is nothing to sneeze at. That's an episode with nothing but golds and silvers all the way across the board. All 4 of these players are bringing the heat, AAA bringing the crown, and it's still anybody's game over on that side.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just look at the score and you just think, wow, this side of this bracket right here, this matchup is stacked. 500 plus for everyone is absolutely insane, and I want to see them keep it up. I want to see a really high scoring all the way through match between these two. I don't want to see any 400s. Bring home the golds, bring home the silvers, show it to me.
Absolutely, I want to see it. I really want to see it happen. And that even that hexagon, these two teams are so close right now. Even that hexagon proves that really anybody can walk away with the crown in any given moment here. Just depends on who holds out the longest. When all of these players are this good, you just gotta those moments. You gotta act clutch in those moments.
Yeah. So if I have a question for you, if you're Virtuous Visitors, and we're talking about how a crown's not enough, are you hoping for a situation where round 2 you manage to get a jump showdown? Are you hoping? Because that's your best situation to get the double crown and potentially Hurdle take the lead into round 3. Is that what you're hoping for? Are you worried if you get that could just cement their victory?
It's possible. It's a scary thought, right? So maybe you kind of have to pedal back a little bit. Maybe instead of just thinking about what the final is, maybe you're thinking about what games can we get that we can put a stifle on our opponents. Yeah. Maybe eliminate one of them early. We've seen only a little bit of that aggressive play come into play, like within the episode itself. A lot of that aggressive play doesn't really show itself until the finals. Maybe you're the team that makes that mark and says, hey, we're going to get one of them out really early and force a situation where we have an advantage.
Yeah, someone who's been in a situation before where a round 1 deficit can be quite large. I know 5-5 would always take advantage and just be like, you know what, we're going for it. Taking them out.
We sing a lot of praise about 5-5 in this stream because he was one of the kings of kind of taking people by surprise. We focused on it a lot when it came to the roll-offs, especially. He has the die song, like that's his trademark. He's all about getting a little bit sneaky and aggressive when it matters in those roll-offs and forcing 2v1 situations.
And I didn't quite see who got first or if any of them got first in this one. I'll be honest. I may have missed the gold there. And then on the other side, we're going to see our favorite round 1 seesaw. And hopefully, we're going to see what the ending pattern here. Because if it's vertical seesaws, that's a tough situation to deal with. And you just hope that you don't have anyone trying to grief or hold that seesaw so no one can get through.
Shoot.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes, but you can see on the left side, Space Rodeo is running away with this one, a commanding lead. Now, there are some strategies on Seesaw to kind of manipulate how the episode goes. We haven't seen it yet in FallapaTWOza, but sometimes you see a team coordinate to try and eliminate a lot of the lobby, even eliminate some of their opponents by manipulating some of these later Seesaws. Do you think that we might see something like that today?
I would personally love to see it. If you can pull that off in a tournament and you can somehow manage to get both your opponents out in a situation like that because you were manipulating the seesaws, more power to you. That is not easy to do because first off, that means you got ahead of your opponents and had a handed lead and just, I guess, better spawns probably in that situation. But you know, if it happens,
and
go for it. And I would love to see that personally.
It's gonna be bronze.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're both bronze.
You're noticing 2 peas in a pod coming in kind of late on the seesaw. I don't know what happened there. They got stuck behind the pack perhaps, but bronze medals for them, gold and silver for the Virtuous Visitors. We're talking about how they need those gold medals to catch up. That's what they're going to do right now.
Yeah, no, chipping away is the most important thing for them. So hopefully they can keep that up, bring it back, get the crown, and then see what it could be in round 3. But they're just thinking about, is round 2 going to give us the opportunity, as you mentioned earlier, where we can maybe knock one of them off? Are we going to get a rollout situation? Are we going to have a situation where it's a slime climb and we can push one of them off? You just never know. That's the situation that they're probably looking for right now, though.
Might as well just play your best and get as many kudos over your opponents as you can to try and climb your way back a little bit. Because again, the crown is not going to be quite enough. So if they can win those races, then they're going in the right direction.
Oh, yeah.
You might be going back for you, so I waited.
Did we see somebody get the gold medal there? I think Coriano was able to nab it.
Yeah, that was an interesting situation that I was seeing there. I saw the grabbing at the end. I was like, wait, I just crossed the finish line. I was very confused on what was going on.
I'm noticing a little bit of griefing coming from Trip and X team, actually. AAA was really giving Coriano some business on the hit parade in the last episode. You know, as they're climbing up the slime hill, he was just grabbing him from behind, telling him, hey, I'm here. I'm kind of trying to get into your head a little bit. I like to see that. That's the kind of play I want to see a little bit more of. To change the course of the battle here. To shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, and if you choose to attack a player and naturally they're like a more passive style player, that can potentially get under their skin, make them think the whole time, and focus more on you and watching out for you than playing their game. So that I really like that strategy too, because a lot of this can also be head games.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, even if you don't eliminate your opponents, it can be pretty risky, you know, putting yourself in a situation where you're trying to eliminate your opponents. It can sometimes just be better to just get in their heads a little bit. You know, if you make them scared of you, when that jump showdown comes around, then suddenly you're in the power seat because you've been displaying your dominance this whole time.
Doing?
Yeah, I want to see a rollout or slime climb between those two now, because I want to see if Coriano starts looking out, starts being like a little on their toes and like, okay, are they near me? Am I safe to clear? I want to see if that's possibly a factor.
For sure. I do too. Absolutely. And this is what you don't want to see if you're the Virtuous Visitors. We've got a Hoarders in the second round. Now, of all the team games, obviously you're not allowed to throw the team games. It's in the rules not to throw the team games for the sake of good, fair competition. We've already seen a couple of team games be lost throughout FallapaTWOza to no fault of the competitors. Most of them being Penguin Pursuits, strangely enough. But you know, Hoarders is one of those games, those team games that if you see it, you might be a little bit nervous because the teams are so large and there's not a whole lot of manipulating that you can really do to the games to sway them in your favor.
Yeah, whenever I was in a tournament situation, unless I had a comfortable lead, the two games I never wanted to see, Jinxed and Hoarders, in that order. I hated seeing Jinxed because that's just a coin flip of a game. And this one, it kind of feels the same way. You can be in the lead the whole time, and then all of a sudden, in the last 10 seconds, the floodgates open, the balls from your section start to leave, and it's in red, yellow, wherever are the other teams, and then all of a sudden, you lose. And you're like, how did we get here? It didn't even go to overtime. It just flipped that fast.
Yep, exactly. You got to be watching out for that. And speaking of team games, we got another one on this side. A little Hoopsie Legends, or sorry, Hoopsie Daisy, this one. Now, you and I actually have a little bit of like a sour spot for Hoopsie Heroes, or Hoopsie Daisy, because we lost probably, like, we were going 3 for 3 in Chase for the Crown. Our 4th tournament comes along, and Hoopsie Daisy is the game that eliminates us because we were in a big team game. And again, it just goes to show that even if you've got really good players on your side, sometimes these games just don't swing your way. You don't get the good luck you need.
Yeah, for sure. And if it's Hoopsie Daisy, I think the one version you don't want to see in tournament format is the Oops All Golds version.
Right.
That if you see that version, that's where you start getting a little more nervous, because that one, I swear, just can sway it way more, even though it statistically doesn't make sense. You know, if you're getting 1 for 1 or you're getting the 5 for 5, you know, it shouldn't, but oh my gosh, it does.
Now, are you seeing what's happening on this wall, guys, right here? Essence is waiting behind. Bear is already in, but waiting for Space Rodeo at the end, and now they're just in a sumo wrestling match in a lockdown at the end. Mallet Master's going to be approaching pretty soon here to help him out, but only 16 spots. If for some reason, if for some reason Space Rodeo lets go or Essence gets the move on him, then it's going to be an interesting situation. But I think they both realized they were in a bit of a stalemate, so they're just going to rush for the finish line now.
Yeah, and if you saw, like, so if I saw that my teammate or that my opponent was gonna like push me, as soon as I saw that that platform was right behind me and the wall was that low, and seeing that no other bean was around, I may have just accepted, all right, you know what, you're gonna push me off, we're both gonna qualify no matter what, but I'm just gonna land right back on this platform behind me, jump back up, not even have to worry about another grab, and just cross the finish line. Because last thing you want is them holding you perfectly long enough, and then them getting in and you just missing the finish line.
For sure.
But it's a tough situation.
And you gotta kind of weigh your options there too a little bit. You know, you got to think about the medals. Bear did get the gold medal in that one, so Essence doesn't have to really worry about that. But he still probably wants to grab a silver just to kind of extend his lead a little bit more.
Yeah, now we're gonna have potentially a team game with 16 people left.
We might see a fall ball on that side, but more importantly, over here we have a tail tag, and we've got the big yeets on the map. We actually haven't seen any teammates yeet out of the map using it yet,
really,
which is kind of surprising. You know, I think that would be like the safe strat you'd want to take. You'd want to yeet, and you can see Coriano immediately going for this right here. There are a couple yeets around the map, which actually makes it kind of nice. Usually, a lot of people will camp these hammers so that nobody can get out of bounds. But we might find ourselves in a situation that, you know, maybe two of these players on opposite teams yeet out of the map. Do they go for like a sumo wrestle? Do they try and get each other back into the map as a result of that? We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we see someone fly out of the map. And as someone, I've only ever made it out of the map once. With how much I played this game, it's the one thing that like I try to figure out, but whenever there's just one hammer, right? You mentioned how it's a luxury having these multiple. Whenever it's just one, yeah, everyone camps it. You try and get your speed jumping on the ramp, and you're gonna bump into people. Someone's gonna grab your tail. You're gonna get off your track, and it's just all right. Reset. Hope no one takes it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But with multiple, yeah, you have multiple exits, which also may decrease the chance of the sumo wrestle. Because are they gonna get out at the same spot, or are they gonna take different routes, different hammers? Like it's gonna be interesting. But I want to see. And it looks like we have Frozen Scout out of the map.
Frozen's already out there. He's waving to his teammate as they fly across. Okay, now Corey's up on this lower ledge, a little bit easier to get to, but you can see that both players of Trippin X still holding on to tails. I think they've kind of given up on the yeet potential here. They're just going to try and hold on to their tails and play the game normal, stay away from the hot pockets, and just qualify that way. And it looks like it works out for them. Gold medals, I think, across the entire board. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, gold medals are not easy to come by in tail tag. They're just not easy. And, you know, if I was Triple X there, or Trippin X, sorry, if I was them, I would have just looked at that situation, looked up in the sky. Like, if you could see them and you're like, whoa, they are both out. They both have tails. We have to just make sure that we're playing safe. And I think that's why they went away from the big eats. I just think that they knew we can't risk this anymore. It's too dangerous. Let's go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we did, in fact, see a fall ball on the other side. Easy quals for the blue team. They're going to be moving on to a final. But first, we have a little roll-off action. All 4 of our players remaining in a 10-person roll-off.
And roll-off. It's one of those games. Dangerous, do you have a specific route that you use every time you play roll-off now?
Well, the thing is, there's probably 2 or 3 different patterns for the roll-off, so you have to be aware of that, and you have to notice which one that you're on early. There's one that has a extremely big gap on the blue, and oh my goodness, look at this already.
Wow.
Eliminations, you know, when you're in this head-to-head competitive format, you have to use that early like the early part of this wheel spinning is really slow. You have to use that to your advantage, and if you catch your opponent on your heels, they need to go in the slime, and that's exactly what they did. You can hear Trippin X is saying you got the double pop. Both players went after Coriano and popped him off the stage really early. Now we're in a 1v2 situation.
Yeah, and that's a big play. And as you said, you always got to do it when the wheels are moving slower, because once it gets fast, you're probably going to mess yourself up more than you'll mess up your opponent. Maybe you'll get that kill, but you'll probably go down too. And that's putting a lot of pressure on your teammate if you're doing that.
Could have like 180'd you.
And, Frozen is probably feeling the heat right now. In fact, both of these teammates are grabbing him and giving him some hard time. And just like that, Frozen Scout is in the slime as well. Professor able to get the good angle on him and shove him right in. And now it's just a 2v0 situation. These guys just have to outlast the NPCs here.
And is this going to be Professor saying, hey, day 2, more of the same, give me the crown? I'm excited to see this. I want to see one of these two take home this crown.
And I'm loving the aggression here as well. I'm loving how aggressive, even to the NPCs they're being, pushing them in. Just nothing happening. Over here on the other side, Beartorv also getting the crown, you can see, in a roll-off. That one went so fast that we missed it entirely, but Bear grabbing the crown, taking so both the same teams getting the same crowns in the second round, increasing their lead and just dominating their performance in this quarterfinals.
Yeah, that's man, that's a tough situation. It's also super interesting that both went from hexagon finals to both getting roll-off finals. And it's a shame we missed the other one, because I was confused for a second. I was like, wait, how'd they just kill? But yeah, same final, same situation. A kill to win it on an NPC, and it's just, hey, there it is. You get roll off, and if we're aggressive and we attack aggressive, and that's what I love what they did. They got Coriano off the map immediately. The double pop, get him off 2v1. That's really going to affect how your opponent plays, because now they're probably not going to go for you because it's just going to be too risky.
Yep, it is. And 1v2 situation, right?
Yeah.
You created that 1v2 situation. You didn't eliminate the opponent early on in the episode. You did it right at the beginning of the finals and just kind of cut off their lifeline, the ability for them to work together. And that's huge. We've seen already in this tournament that 1v2 is not necessarily a death sentence, though. There have been so many come-from-behind victories in those 1v2 situations that yesterday we weren't even viewing it as an advantage. Like, if you are able to outsmart that too on the other side, you can come from behind. Just wasn't happening for Frozen, though, this time, unfortunately.
Yeah, with roll-off, a final like that, my situation is, if it's 1v2 and I'm the one, my goal is just to try to avoid them until the wheel just gets so fast, and just hope you're making the moves and they're just missing. Because a grab at that point, they're probably going to go down too. But if it's just 2v1 and there's no NPC there, that could just be the win at that point if they take you down and themselves. But you just want to try and get that wheel going fast and just be like, all right, we're just running, we're both freaking out.
Yep. It becomes an endurance test at that point, right? So let's take a look at the scoreboard over here.
Ooh. Yeah, these are, 2 peas in a pod, absolutely just dominating right now. And it's not like the Virtuous Visitors didn't do what they had to do. They chipped away at the golds. They both got 5-10, very respectable scores. But when it came down to the final portion of it, when they needed the crown to try and sway things in their favor and chip away and then go into a round 3 within striking distance, it was Beartorv that came back with it.
Yep, they struck back. They said, we don't need the gold medals. Here I am to win the crown right from underneath you. We're going to win it really fast in a roll-off, and we're going to take the crown and extend our lead. They have a lead of almost 1,700 kudos now. This is getting even beyond the territory of double crown potential. Basically, if Virtuous Visitors want to win this next episode, they have to rely on getting 2 peas in a pod out as early as they can. And the story is pretty much the same on the other side here. 1,500 kudos separates Trip and X from Moose and Goose. Huge scores. A repeat performance from Coriano and Frozen Scout, 580, 545, but AAA and Professor X are meeting them right there. 13-15 with the crown. Professor X, probably one of the single highest scores in any round we've seen so far in FallapaTWOza with 13-15.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely insane. And I asked for it, and so far they've delivered. I said, I don't want to see any 400s on this side. I just don't. You're all capable. You're doing it again. You're through 2 rounds. Don't show me a 400. I want to see 500 and above one more time. And just, go out with a bang. Let's see what can happen. I still want to see I want to see a position where a double crown could potentially be enough to hurdle. Give it some suspense. Let's see it.
Absolutely.
He was in the most killable spot on my client. And then I bet I fucking 180'd him on his screen, dude. I guarantee it.
Yeah, they're talking about that grief in the roll-off, and it's true. We're actually seeing in real time here what that desync looks like. You know, sometimes you're playing in a roll-off, and you get into a little sumo wrestle with an opponent, trying to push them off, and it looks like they kind of do like this 180 turn, and they like seismic toss you over their shoulder, but on their screen, they were standing in the right place that they needed to, and that just kind of comes down to the desync, and you know, it is a definite problem when it comes to competitive formats. You know, you have to anticipate the desync a little bit. You have to trust that the game is going to be a little bit unfair in displaying where your opponent is. You can't get caught on your heels. You can't be put too risky of a situation.
Oh, absolutely. And you and I we've both experienced that firsthand in a tournament scenario where we both got 180'd on a rollout, where we're both like, all right, we're facing then, and then all of a sudden we're on the other side. We're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Where did this cliff come from? And then you're just out. It's crazy. And I saw that was how Triumph went out yesterday. You know, the desync grab, it's just something that it's unfortunate, but that's part of the game. You know what you sign up for. You know what you're going into with the tournament. And if someone grabs you from far away, on their screen, they saw something different. And it's unfortunate for you, but you got to roll with the punches and hope that it doesn't come back to bite you.
That's right. Yeah, you just got to be a little bit more prepared for it next time and avoid those edges, you know? Those edges are scary, and even if you feel like you're in the power seat, they might just be a couple steps behind on theirs, and that might be all it takes to kind of shove you into the slime. So you got to be careful. You got to be a little bit sneakier. You got to channel your inner Fi-Fi and don't really be standing there in preparation of a grief, you know? You got to be kind of moving around. You got to slither around and make it happen from kind of an unsuspecting place, I think.
Unlikely, yeah.
Oh, for sure. And now we have another seesaw over here with visitors and 2Ps in a pod. And we're seeing the respawn glitch right there by Essence, using it perfectly. And if you're new and you don't know what this is, when you dive, you can actually hit the checkpoint on the top of that barrier on that wall, and you'll respawn further up on that platform ahead. And it's a little faster. That's the speedrun mentality. Something I love to see. Always utilize everything to your advantage if you can.
Yep, a lot of these top players are utilizing it. You'll see it. That first and second checkpoints, you just smash your face on the platform and just magically appear. Also works on big fans, by the way. Same, basically, the developers have told us that all they did for big fans was took out all the seesaws and threw in some fans, and all of the mechanics of the level are still the same, so you can use that checkpoint glitch to your advantage. You just have to make sure that you're diving at the right place, and you can kind of boost yourself forward in the level a couple seconds.
Yeah, and all that boosting was enough for Essence to actually take home the gold. You could see Mallet Master look over and see that Essence just had enough distance on them, and you just have that look over and that stare. It's like, man, I was right there, but it's just not enough.
It's gonna hurt them, you know. They're looking for those gold medals. They gotta do what they can to kind of inch back into this one, because 1600 kudo deficit right now. That's going to be a tough hill to climb, but they got to do it somehow. And in a level like this, like Slime Climb, would be the perfect level to start kind of materializing some of your plans and see if maybe you can get one of these really good players out early.
Yeah, for sure. You want to talk about tough hills to climb against good opponents, and in a situation like this, Slime Climb is what you'd hate to see if you're the leader right now. But if you're the ones behind, you love to see it, and you just hope to have the opportunity.
Frozen Flash trying to get the edge and the climb there, but not able to do it. He's kind of getting stuck in the pack now. If you are the trailing team, you want to be up this mountain as early as you can. You want to have the high ground, you know, figuratively and literally. You want to be able to kind of set yourself in a position where you can grief the other players. Maybe you use the push blocks. Maybe you're waiting at the slime at the top so you can pop them off. You got to do something, right? But you got to be up at the top of the mountain to make that happen. And who's at the top of the mountain right now? It ain't our boys Moose and Goose. It's Trippin' X, AAA crossing the finish line, and Professa is right behind him.
Yeah, and you just look at a situation like that. And this is where I'd have to ask you, Dangers, if you know you're behind, are you going to try and wait at the first push blocks and then at the second area and then at the third area? Or are you just, like, you're talking about waiting at the top, but do you want to try and take advantage of every possible opportunity that there is to knock someone off?
I mean, we did talk about the value of getting into our opponent's heads, and I think that there is some of that. That first set of push blocks, they're very wide, though. Like, it takes a long time for them to extend all the way out and all the way back in. But, you know, that's a surprising move. Like, if you just stand right there and you're trying to catch them with their pants down and you do, like, a full grab and are able to push them off right at that first one, those are the deadliest ones because the slime is right there. But if you're grabbing them here, you know, like where we're starting to spectate, in the top left corner here, it's hard to eliminate your opponents there, you know, because they're speedrunners, they're fast, they're quick at these levels. You might inconvenience them a little bit, but aside from that, you're not going to really be able to accomplish a whole lot.
Yeah, because if you're there with your opponents, I guarantee you the slime is not even that close at all.
Exactly.
You're just going to send them down. They'll do a hammer jump and probably be right back there.
Exactly. Now, this is interesting to see. Out of a seesaw and into a DoorDash. Now, there is some cool tech that's been developed for DoorDash that's been found just recently. That third row of doors, you can jump up on top and out of the map to warp yourself forward, eliminating some of the RNG elements of the level. Obviously, these speedrunners, they love to see that. They love to see that. And I haven't actually seen it utilized yet properly in FallapaTWOza. Maybe we'll see it here.
Yo, come on. Let's see some FallapaTWOza magic. I want to see this glitch. I want to see someone jump out and just go for it. Go all out on the swag. You know you have to. If you're on this stage, you got to put on a show.
And it's a round 2 DoorDash, you know? It's a round 2 DoorDash. Those are scary.
They are.
And yes, look at this. Essence in the bottom right corner, but the door gets taken out from underneath him, so he can't do it. He can't do it.
Man, is this a situation where we just say the NPCs?
NPCs
really
ruined it.
Man, I was excited. I actually haven't seen that glitch yet, personally. That's a new one to me. And you said that just got discovered.
Within the last week or so, we've been kind of finally starting to implement it. Mallet is in trouble here, though, as you can see. He's in the back of the pack, and he's not able to get through the door. He's going to have to hope for a good dive. Is he going to come in within the 29 barrier? Oh, yes, just squeaking in.
Oh, my gosh. And I feel like if you've played Fall Guys, we've all been there. You just can't get past it. You keep getting desync pushed. You get pushed to the side. Everyone manages to get through except you. And you feel so helpless.
Yeah, DoorDash comes with a whole set of just nerves, you know? Every step of the way. If you get the yeet, you think, okay, the yeet might be able to save me, and then it launches you over the goal, and then you're toast, right? Go back to the top. I've been there too, in tournament settings even. It's not fun.
Yeah.
10 qualifying in this Freezy Peak. All 4 of our players are safe and good to go. We might be seeing a finals here.
That's like,
yeah, Professor X took home the gold there.
Even if they double crown with
continuing the dominance.
And a Freezy Peak over on this side too.
I love Freezy Peak. I remember day one when they came out and we were all playing this game all day for like a week straight. It's one that they said was originally going to be a final. Speaking of finals, we have a Fall Mountain, and this probably would have been the successor to Fall Mountain.
Boy.
There's just a lot going on, though. There's so much, and you love it.
If you're Moose and Goose, you're kind of kicking yourself right now. You know, there's not a whole lot you can do to come back from a 2-crown deficit, you know, except for hope for a double crown. Like, are these guys going to try and jump at the crown at the same time and maybe get that double crown? That's about the only thing that they can hope for right now. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and it's, again, a situation like that. I remember we tried to time it out before in the past. Like, all right, 1, 2, 3. If you get a double crown, it's almost always incidental in the situation with desync and everything. I feel like it's almost better off it just happening than trying to actually aim for it.
Absolutely. And here we go. Nice teamwork on the Moose and Goose side, grabbing Professor X and Triple A, not able to grab the crown. So Moose and Goose is going to walk away with the crown here, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough points. You don't see the pop-off on their side, you know? They know that the mathematic equation is just not working out in their favor there.
Yeah, but can I just say, I love that grab into the hammer. And the hammer just yeeting them onto the conveyor belt. That's something. It's just so great. You grab them at the right spot, be like, I'll hold them back, and you get that little extra of, oh wait, here comes a hammer. There you go, and then they go off flying. And look, and even if that isn't enough points, you don't want to get 3 Odin crowns. You want to take home a crown. You want to go home with something and be like, you know what? It didn't swing in our favor. We had some close matches, but we still also managed to bring home a crown.
Absolutely, you know, going out with a bang,
I
so to
think we're
speak.
Yeah,
3 middle sub right now.
exactly.
17
And now we
remaining.
wait for the next.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Ooh.
We do love to see some fruit shoot. Now the
And we
yeets, we've
see
talked
yeets.
about the yeets. Yeah, you know, our first instinct is to look at the yeets. I think that any player of this game, anybody immediately starts looking for those hammers. They want to see those hammers because, you know, the top players, they use them as a bit of a crutch, you know? I think that a lot of casual players look at those hammers and they think of it as like a last resort, something that you can kind of do if you're in a last ditch effort. But when you're a good player, you look at those hammers and you see an opportunity. And in this game in particular, it is an extreme opportunity because it can take you from getting knocked off the stage 3 times to getting yourself into a qualifying position.
Yeah, that's what I love about the eats, because sometimes, look, we're not perfect at this game. We're gonna mess up. You're gonna get a bad yeet, or even just get hit into fruit or something, and then you're gonna be knocked off. But because those yeets are there, and because a lot of people just only use it as a last resort, you could get yeeted, miss, fall off, and still be in a position where you just get the good yeet and you'll still qualify.
Oh, look at this.
Wow.
Bottom left corner, Mallet Master, by the skin of his teeth, qualifying in this fruit shoot. There was a Krampus in front of him. The Krampus gets absolutely shattered by a cinnamon stick. All 4 of them making it in. And, you know, the points, they're dwindling. That's a pink medal. That's not very many kudos. But Mallet has also been a clutch story this entire FallapaTWOza, getting the crowns when it matters most, making those plays when it matters most. And, you know, major kudos to him for being able to come up on these clutch plays going into a hexagon.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to see Mallet take home this crown right here. The DoorDash scenario, that scenario with fruit shoot, barely making it through. Bring home the crown and just be like, you know what? I was meant to be here in this final. Everything looked like I shouldn't have been, but I did make it here. And for this reason, give me the crown.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be, you know, putting a nice little bow on the whole story, the whole package, including this, not just this episode, but his entire tournament performance. You know, these virtuous visitors, they came in as kind of, you know, they're the stream snipers. They're the visitors. They weren't really kind of anticipating the huge win, right? They were just here to play and have a good time, but they made it so far because of the knowledge that they have of this game. So, you know, why not go out with a bang? Why not put a little bit of icing on the cake?
Oh yeah. And you know, once you put so much hours into this game, like I feel like there's going to be a point, you know, even if you come in as you're the stream snipers, you do this. Once you do that, you realize when you're in these games, you're always playing with these top level players, depending on like whose stream you're going to, who you're trying to play with and all that stuff. You're getting a lot of great tourney prep practice by doing that. And like, you know, as long as you're not being toxic, you know, we don't want to see that. But if you're just like going in there and you're just playing your game as any other NPC would, you're getting really good experience. And that showed for this tournament with Mallet Master and Space Rodeo.
For sure. And, you know, one of the things that I say when people ask me, how do you get good at this game? One of the things that I always say is watch the top level players. Like there's a bunch of people that stream this game on Twitch, be in their chats, be engaging, ask questions. And nobody really encapsulates that more than the virtuous visitors. That's exactly what they do, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah,
look at this
sure.
play from Mallet Master too. He's trying to give, he's trying to pull Bear's pants down, and he does a pretty successful job of it, but gets caught kind of cutting himself off. But don't worry, Space Rodeo has got a lot of space over here on his side. But you know who's right up in his face is Essence. Gets cut off though. Essence gets cut off a little bit, and I think that the win on this side. Wait, Essence has got some room.
Yeah, they got it.
I think he's got it.
To them. They are gamers.
I think Essence is going to do it.
And they are indeed gamers, taking home the crown right there for 2 peas in a pod. And that was, whew. At first I was like, all right, that's it. And then sometimes you just never know there's that other person that's also just lurking, whether their story's above you or they're just on the other side and you didn't turn your camera properly. Hexagon can be a weird one, and when you just think you have it because you see your opponent go down.
Absolutely, yeah. Virtuous visitors, they gave it their all, but the team of Bear and Essence together just barreling through 3 for 3. That's the story that they've had so far. You know, they've had a 49,000 or 4,900 kudos first round. They came to play. They keep winning these crowns, and they're just barreling through now to the semifinals.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what we just saw this round and what we're projecting and what we think will be the situation, we'll find out very shortly what the matchup is. But oh boy, are we in for a semifinals match?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
boy.
Oh yeah. Between, like I always say it in tournaments, all these players, you get to know them really personally, and they're all friends, right? And you see how good they play and all the effort that they put in. And when these matchups, these really big matchups kind of come to a head, you really don't know who to pick. You don't know who to root for.
No, yeah, no. I mean, for sure. And a lot of situations, like you said, these people. There's a good chance that with the Fall Guys community, there's a good chance you've probably played with them before too. There's a lot of situations where you come across in a bracket and you're against someone that you either played with casually and just for fun, and now all of a sudden it's like, I have to remember when I played with them, what were their tendencies? Are those tendencies, were they just in the like, oh, we're just playing casually moment, or are these their actual tendencies that they're going to bring in to try and utilize against me? Like, you just have to start thinking like that if you come into that,
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. And it's crazy to watch the action go down. I think we have all of our scores in. So let's go take a peek at the scorecards, the final standings for this first quarterfinal matchup here.
Yeah, and we're going to see two peas in a pod go up against Trippin' X in the next round. And look, they did it for me. I'm so happy. I look at that bottom right scorecard and I am so stoked. No one got 400 points at all. Everything was above 500 the whole way through. That's an incredible scorecard there. That is like, if you're Moose and Goose and you're going home, you cannot be upset at that scorecard. You played so well.
That's the kind of matchup, like in that first round, they were, the roll off was a really unfortunate one in the second round, but that first round was literally 3 or 4 hexes away from a win, and the crown in the third round. Had they won that first round, they would have taken it home just as easily. That you can't be upset with that performance. It was just rock solid all the way through, and yeah, like you said, no scores under 500 kudos is nothing to sneeze at all. Making it into the top 8 is an incredible feat, and you got to be feeling proud of yourself, even if you didn't make it all the way to the end.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then you look at the other, Mount Master and Space Road, they played freaking incredible throughout this tournament. I know that, you look at the round 1 score and you're like, it was a little rough. But then look at the bounce back in round 2, 5-10 each. That's hard to get. And then round 3, Space Rodeo pulling back another 5-10. Mount Master getting unlucky with Fruit Shoot and with DoorDash. Would have had a pretty decent score otherwise. But, you just look at these. Did they think they were going to be here day 2? You never know. Like, sometimes you just go in these situations and you go in, as you said, we're the stream snipers. We're going in this tournament. We want to make a name for ourselves, but what's our expectations? And they certainly exceeded my expectations coming into this. I knew they were good, but dang, coming this close to the semifinals is incredible regardless.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. I have to tip my hat to them. The Virtuous Visitors took out the number 1 seed in the tournament with an excellent play yesterday. That can't go overlooked. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with the next time that they are joining in a tournament, and we hope to see their faces again.
Oh yeah, would love to see them in another tournament, and we know we're going to see Malmaster around in lots of chats and Fall Guys too. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you can guarantee that. Let's actually, if we can, take a hop over to the bracket and see what it's shaping up to be on our second day. We're going to be taking you guys into the quarterfinals matches on the lower half of the bracket coming your way in just a few moments. But there we see it. 2 peas in a pod and Trippin' X are going to be facing off in the semifinals in just about an hour from now against each other. And what a matchup that's going to be.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for the semifinals already. But we have another set of matchups that are going to be incredible to go on for this quarterfinals with Baby Bear and Gas, and then you have on the other side Young Beans and Eminem, both great matchups coming up. And you know what? I know. Like when talking to Chloe in the past, and she always talks about how she always feels like she gets super unlucky in these tournaments, and just like something happens. She has really made a name for herself in this tournament with how many clutch moments she's had. I want to see Chloe continue the clutch into this next round and see if she can keep bringing the team back, seeing what her and Bear can do. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited for this. I love this redemption arc right now.
It's honestly been so fun to watch. All 4 of these teams on the bottom half of the bracket have a little bit of a story to tell here. You know, you're talking about Chloe and Baby Bear bringing the clutch moments that they need to make it to the point that they're at right now. But Team M&M has a very similar story. Their first round was pretty scary. It relied on getting a crown in the 3rd round to make it to round 2. They clutched it out. And then in the 2nd round against a team equally matched to them, they held them off from getting a crown. They had a little bit of a kudos lead going into the round 3. No crowns awarded, and the difference between them and their opponents was only 20 kudos to make it here. So if we're talking clutch, we got clutch on the top half of this second half, and we got clutch on the bottom half. But you can't look at the middle and think any less of them, because Gas had some of the hardest opponents to get here, and the Young Beans even more so, taking out the defending champions to be in the spot they're in right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was about to say Young Beans, as I said, my eyes turn to them. When you look at the bracket and you look at yesterday, your eyes are going to be like, oh, there's Delete Fall Mountain. They're dominant. They're such an incredible team. And then you see the Young Beans toppled Delete Fall Mountain, and then your eyes just shift. You're like, all right, that's who I'm looking at. Are they going to be able to bring this to the next round? Can they do it again? Or are they going to go in with, the celebratory hangover from taking out the top seed, the defending champions? I don't think they will. I think that they'll come in striking iron hot.
Yep. Momentum is important. We talk about it all the time. So it's going to be important to see if they are able to carry that through.
That they didn't get the first place, so I got the top one.
All right, we're gonna see a round 1 here with, I think it looked like Royal took home that gold, but I'm not entirely sure if that may have been just a silver.
Oh my god, who wouldn't want to grab me?
I think we might have the kudo lead after that round.
Okay, so it was a silver. So both securing a silver. You had Royal and Chloe taking home silvers, and then Bear and Train taking home the bronze. We're gonna have a neutral score. It all worked out for both of them. And I'm just excited for these matchups. I really am. Like this day 2 is just so full of great matchups right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, getting those scores off the screen. I think those are the scores from the previous round. So we're all fixed up here. Reset, good to go. Second round Hoarders. And again, we've been talking about this a lot. We've been talking about all throughout this tournament how team games are kind of just like a, they're a lull in the action. A lot of the time, these teams are going to be able to move forward, but one of the scariest team games you can see is Hoarders.
Yeah, and big teams, big teams right here. So, it's weird. I know. I always got criticized for my strat immediately when we first started playing Hoarders a lot. I was like, all right, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the ball to the other teams. Like I don't want everyone attacking us for the whole duration of this, because that's what leads to the. Oh, here we are. But in a tournament setting, I couldn't do that because I felt like if I do that, that's going to look like me throwing, even though that's just my genuine strat. Yeah. So you just have to be like, all right, no, I can't do that. We're just going to have to probably play some defense, hope that our teammates play good defense. And hopefully a minute and a half in, and when that timer hits 0, you just don't have the red exclamation point next to your team.
Exactly. We'll come back to them to see if they qualify. Have a lot of faith in them, obviously, but Whirligig starting over here, the Young Beans taking on M&M, and this matchup is going to blow my mind. I think we're going to see a lot of really interesting strats coming from both sides. Again, the Young Beans, they took out the team, not only the defending champions, but the team that in the first round and so far in all of FallapaTWOza 2 had the highest score by a wide margin. It wasn't even close. 5,100 kudos.
That's still incredible. I just look at that score and I just stared at it. That's all I could do. I just stared at it. I'm like, how in 3 games in a tournament setting against, like, you're always going to be going up against good people in a tournament. It's just, you put up 5,100 kudos collectively. That is insane. And we'll have to see. Yeah, the Young Beans start off strong there. And we're going to see what happens here. I want to see some good finals matchups with this one. I want to see a jump showdown with these two teams going at against each other. I want to see a hexagon. And honestly, I kind of want to see a thin ice. I don't want this to come down to like a fall mountain. I don't want to see, it's funny enough, they got rid of delete fall mountain, but I don't want to see fall mountain here either. I want to see a lot of strategic finals between these two.
For sure. Yeah. See who can outwit, outplay, and outlast each other, Fall Mountain, honestly, is one of my favorites in the commentary booth to watch because it's a nail biter, but as a participant, you really do hate to see it because just you leave it up to the game to decide, essentially.
And we're going to go over it here where we see Baby Bear and Gas going on a fruit shoot. And it looks like Royal and Crazy Train taking home the first and second there. And then you see Chloe, and here comes Sleeping Bear to cap it off. And I think Sleeping Bear. Yeah.
We'll see. Is that going to be a silver medal? There's 17 to qualify. Probably 5 or 6th place, I think they came. So
yeah, they should
see
be
right
good.
now. Silver medals across the board. And over here on the other side, hoarders all day, baby.
Hoarders with hammers, even better.
Even better. Now, we do have to make a mention that, the team games like this, if you get a Jinxed or a Hoarders in your first episode, it's not really a big deal. Because if you lose, then it's kind of just a bracket reset,
Yep.
You're basically starting out your matchup with 2 episodes instead of 3, and maybe that works out to your advantage. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it makes you a little nervous, but not the biggest deal. These big team games, they kind of suck more when you're later into the episodes, when you're later, your 3rd round, maybe.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. Like, as you said, it'll be a bracket reset where maybe you start at most like a 50-point deficit when it comes to kudos, and that's definitely something you can overcome. So it's like it sucks. It's not what you want to see because everyone wants to get a crown every round, but it's better than your opponent's getting a crown and you not. And now we're gonna see Baby Bear and Gas over here with a block party.
Yeah, I saw him grabbing the poor soda can.
And I'm going to be interested to see if there's any grabbing going on here. Is anyone going to try and make a move? Are we going to get jump rope at the end? Or is anyone going to try to take someone out there? Or are we going to see someone try and get out on the top at the end by jumping off of someone else's head?
That'll be interesting to see. I think we've seen a couple of players do that strat, and it's valuable. It's very valuable in block party. Like if I see the hard pattern coming, I take my first opportunity to try and get up on that wall because I do not want to deal with the zigzag pattern ever.
No, the desync on the zigzag pattern is every player's worst nightmare. You think you have it, you're doing well, you're in a position where you would be fine, but then everyone else pushes you. Someone turns into a random brick wall somehow. And we're going to see there as Sleeping Bear actually just gets eliminated early on in this block party with about 30 seconds left.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. I think he just kind of was stuck behind the wall. But Chloe is trying her best to cause some problems here. I already saw her go for a grab on Be More Royal, but wasn't able to accomplish it. And jumping on the wall, we were talking about it. Speaking of Be More Royal, there he is, standing up on the top of the wall, avoiding all the obstacles. And so it's going to be a 2v1 situation. This is not a situation that Chloe is unfamiliar with. She has had to come in clutch on these opportunities in the past, and maybe we'll see her be able to pull it out again today.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about right before going into the matchup, how clutch Chloe has been. And let's see what she can do in this 2v1 situation. Odds are against her, but you never know. Sometimes you live for that situation, and I think Chloe does. So let's see her bring it out if she can.
Absolutely. Little freezy peak action. I do love to see it. Oh, and the final we're going to get is a jump showdown 2v1. Now, this is Chloe's home court. She has a video on YouTube explaining how to grief people on Jump Showdown. Like, this is exactly what she lives for. Can she outmuscle her 2 opponents in this Jump Showdown and bring it home for her team?
See, this is an interesting situation, and this is why I say this, because my first thought was, I know Chloe is so good at grabbing and killing people on Jump Showdown and knocking them off. But then I also look at the other side and how if there's a point where Chloe's grabbing you, do you grab and hold on and go for the suicide and pray that your teammate can just take out the rest of the NPCs and just outlast them all?
See, that is the textbook play, you know? That is kind of what you strategize as a team when you say you're in these 2v1 situations. We have a better shot making sure that our other team doesn't get any points at all in this final, doesn't nab the crown under our noses, essentially, by doing one of those suicide grabs, you know? Instead of making it a 2v1, make it a 1v0 and just deal with the NPCs like you do every other day. But you have to act fast. And look at this. Be More Royal getting grabbed by Chloe, I think. Something happened there. Be More Royal is out. We're down to a 1v1 situation. Chloe Clutch bringing it out again. Let's see.
Yeah, and I'm very excited for this because Chloe is currently standing in the back. And that's something I know Chloe doesn't like. A lot of players don't like it because someone could get flung into you and knock you off. And that's out of your control.
Absolutely.
But you also
and it happens all the time.
But you also don't want to be up in the crowd because if someone just randomly puts a grab on you, that's it for you too.
And Chloe, you can see. And speaking of desync, Chloe gets bonked off the stage by an NPC jumping in the air, and she's not able to really do anything about that. The desync affecting both teams equally here, taking no prisoners. Now it's a 1v0 situation. Only Crazy Train remains, and they just have to outlast all of these NPCs and hope none of them go for him.
Yeah, and you know right now, Chloe and Bear are trying to find out who these NPCs are and like, hey, you want to become a paid actor for me real quick? I got something. Can you just grab this cotton candy? Like, it's just like, you know, this is gonna be a situation. You just hope the NPCs get a little grabby, but right now they're just not. Everyone's playing pretty. Let's just take a 5-person crown.
Pretty passive all the way across the board right now. You never know what's going to happen, though. It could go either way. Sometimes the NPCs, they're really unpredictable. That's the thing, right? You don't know how they're going to play. You don't know what's going through their minds. Hot Dog gets knocked off. 4 people left. Look at this situation that we have over here. The Young Beans are both looking to survive this Hoopsie Heroes. 5 out of 6 for Wraith. He's looking for a last ring. There's 6 out of 10 that's coming down to the wire. 8 out of 10 now. 9 out of 10. Both of them qualifying at that very last second.
Oh my gosh, what a gold ring grab right there at the end to clutch out making it. Because if they missed that gold, I don't think they would have made it. They needed that with only 3 of 6 there had.
Yeah, that was nuts. That gold medal couldn't have come in any sooner. Oh, Crazy Train hitting their head and ragdolling over. And happening again, and they're in the slime.
Oh my gosh. And
Crazy Train not able to bring it home.
I could only imagine that once it happened the first time, the nerves set in. Because you get into a zone, and this is what I've experienced in these finals. I'm sure you have too. You're in a rhythm. You're doing your thing. Once something happens that gets you off of your rhythm, your brain starts being active again. And you start thinking instead of just being natural about it. And that's what leads to possibly it happening again, and then something like that happening.
NPCs coming in clutch in that jump showdown, and if you're, Team Baby Bear, you got to be looking at that with a sigh of relief. You got to be thinking, thank goodness that they weren't able to bring that home. All of our players, FallapaTWOza has a little bit of a cursed streak when it comes to jump showdowns. No double crowns yet, and these situations against NPCs, the nerves, I guess, are just getting too high. Not able to bring it home.
Yeah, Baby Bears definitely, as you said, sigh of relief. They're going to be in a bit of a deficit as they only had 1 member make the finals. They had Chloe make the finals, Sleeping Bear getting eliminated on the block party. So, they got a free gold over Sleeping Bear in that situation. But they're still within striking distance, which is all they need to be.
The scores are going to be super close. Baby Bear is going to be looking at a little bit of a kudos deficit, but nothing that they can't come back from right now.
Yeah. As we see the thin ice strats, it's always interesting. Some people take it slower. I was personally always I'm going to run around and just try and get this game going. 3 layers is a lot. I want to start creating the holes as soon as I can.
Yeah, my mantra for this game is cause problems on purpose. You spend the first minute basically trying to get to a situation where you have to force the strategy, and it depends on what you do in the early game. I like to think of it as preparation for the battle. I like to think about thin ice as I'm going to set the precedent for the stage. I'm going to make it look the way that I want it to so that I know what I'm going into, and I'm going to force my opponents to have to make the reaction. And look at this, Melody is out right now. Oh, but so is Puffly Jig. We got a 1-on-1 situation. No, we have a 0-on-1 situation. It's only Miggy Moan left. Wraith had fallen into the slime previous. Will Miggy be able to hold on against this NPC? How many spaces do they have? It really is going to come down to the wire. But look at that. Miggy Moan running away with the crown in this first episode.
A lot of clutch jumps there from Miggy, and that can never, like, people look at thin ice and you're like, all right, it's just like hexagon jumps. Don't forget the ice physics and the trouble that they can cause for your jumps and your momentum and trying to make those long jumps. It is not easy to land there, get there, and just very clutch jumps there by Miggy.
Totally. You saw some very clutch movement from Chloe. She made it look easy yesterday in that clutch thin ice win, but it really is not. Your momentum shifts on a dime. You have to balance not only your momentum, but also the way that the platforms are breaking slowly and surely. You kind of have to manage everything all at once, and it's not as easy as it looks. I think Puffly Jig went down in the slime because of that, but Miggy Moan held it together. Gonna bring home that first crown for his team.
Yeah, and that's the exact first round we kind of expected from these two teams coming at it with Eminem. And you just look at their backgrounds, what they came through. We said this is going to be a very close matchup in round one, all in the finals, and here they are in a situation where just a few blocks off from being able to potentially mess with Miggy there.
You're absolutely right about that. Absolutely right about that. We'll see just how the scores pan out for both of these teams, but yeah, you know what? A little bit surprised by the way that things played out. A little bit closer in the first episode than I was thinking. I was expecting Chloe to make some clutch plays. We'll see just how close that score ends up being. And if you're on the Young Beans, now this is the time to make a move. You have to fight back. You have to get a crown in response to the one that Eminem just got on you, right?
Oh, absolutely. You got to be able to bounce back. Just be like, you know what? We were right there. This wasn't like some blowout. This wasn't a situation. No, we were right there. We could have gotten that crown if some NPCs made rights instead of lefts. We're right there. We'll just take round two, play our game, mental reset, and we can do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take a look at those scores. We'll look at the Young Beans and Eminem first. And yeah, as you can see, just under 800 kudos difference. We're looking at like 1 crown's difference here. Kudos pretty even across the board. Melody just edging out those medals a little bit better than her opponents are, which is causing that 800 kudos gap here.
Yeah, no, very, very close matchup. I know that, if you're casual and you're looking at the score, you're like, oh, wow, that's a big lead. But you can't forget the power of a crown. All it takes is the Young Beans getting a crown in round 2, and the score is pretty much even again. And then if we look at the other matchup with Baby Bear and Gas, as we saw, Sleeping Bear did get eliminated on that block party, which was the difference in this situation. It was enough of a difference to give Gas a 140 kudos point lead, but that can easily be erased. Chloe, Bear, if they just start chipping away at the races, and then when it comes down to these crowns, that's all we have to do. Who's going to get the first crown in that matchup? Because they're very fortunate that no one came home with a crown on both sides.
Exactly. Yep. 140 kudos is nothing. This might as well be, we're talking about that really early round 1 hoarders that they lose or something, just kind of resetting the bracket. They made it all the way to the finals. They had to sweat it out to get to a kind of stalemate position, but we're in the same spot right now. Round 2 and round 3 are what are going to decide this matchup between the two. And on the other side, again, Young Beans, they have to get a win now. They have to even the score.
Absolutely. So I'm just wondering, let's see here. If you're Young Beans, is this the point though where you also start looking? You look at the score, deep down it's not that much. But if you get that opportunity, is this where you're going to start to strike? Are you going to start to strike a round earlier than you usually would? You going to start to maybe get that little grief opportunity, be like, you know what? It's round 2. Typically people look out for this in round 3, but I don't want to lose and potentially have you get another crown, and then the round 3 grief would be nothing.
Game 2, let's get it.
So I'm very interested to see what happens here.
Exactly. If you can take that opportunity, you might as well go for it. Doesn't even matter in my position, in my shoes. If I'm ever in a competition, I'm always looking to kind of catch them by surprise. It doesn't matter what point in the tournament, but if you wait too long, you might miss your chance.
Yeah, it's very true, and that's where I was always more of the passive. I was always like, all right, round 1. Let's just make it to the finals. That's my goal. Round 2, let me look at the score. If we're up, I'm not going to do anything stupid, try and like cement a bigger lead right now. I'm just going to keep playing my game, hopefully just repeat round 1. But if we're down, that's when I look at, all right, what games is it going to give me? And then is there going to be that opportunity that I could just knock them off, get a little cheap shot on them, and then just keep going on and chipping away at their lead and hopefully closing that gap.
For sure. You're going to have to do some work to catch up to him, too. Miggy Moan getting silver. NPC taking home the gold.
Let's go, you first place.
Nah, I think second. Wait, someone's going.
And same story over here, perhaps. Maybe no NPC or NPC's taking the gold, snatching it away from Sleeping Bear at the last second there. So silver medals across the board for everybody, potentially. Chloe's kind of stuck at the back of the pack, though. Might be dealing with a bronze instead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're looking at Chloe right now, taking the left side where the fan can't hit you. Gonna take both of the flippers, but the first one not being very generous to Chloe right there.
Yeah, she didn't get the launch that she was looking for. Almost goes right into the Ringus Dingus on her approach to the finish line there, but she avoids it narrowly and is going to be in. But dealing with a bronze medal, you know, the tiny little gap that Gas has extends just a little bit more because there was no gold medal from Sleeping Bear there.
Yeah, for sure. And that was one that you were hoping for, Sleeping Bear. But we're going over to Eminem and Young Beans on a rollout, but with only 3 platforms. Now, I want to see some cannons, and we do have
and a little icing on the cake is that it's a fruit roll up with 3 platforms. You're talking about, do you start getting the griefing strats in right now? And if I'm the Young Beans, I'm looking at this as a prime opportunity.
Yeah, there's in a situation like this where there's only 3 platforms, I'm not looking to. You're not going to really get the passive avenue, as I like to call it. You're not going to be able to get to that stretch where you just keep going out to the side, middle, left side, and then go back to the middle, right side. And then you just don't have that. You don't have that luxury. There's going to be more opportunities to grief. Go for it.
Everybody kind of being really passive there. Wraith Scuff probably really happy that the episode ended right there because they were taking a drink. If not, everybody's safe and moving on.
Oh, that was... I think that they were going to land on the wall, but I wasn't 100% sure. So seeing that qualified, I was like, oh, whew.
Sleeping Bear singing about the lamb sauce. Where is it? Where is the lamb sauce?
Oh, this was not a good idea. This was a horrible idea.
Oh, the lamb sauce was a bad idea. No one take notes. Now, Sleeping Bear going for the dive underneath the ball strats. I know most of the players go for the dive strats, and then there's the occasional that will just run into the aisle and the in-between and just not bother. But unfortunately, Sleeping Bear actually got hit by that. And we're seeing right now, Gas, both of them just first and second with Royal and Crazy Train.
Yep. Looking right behind.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think, well, it was at 1, 2, 3. I mean, here comes Sleeping Bear. And that might be...
Well, that's pretty late.
I think that's a bronze.
That's got to be a bronze. That's got to be a bronze.
And somehow that guy ends up...
And then we go over to a tail tag. You want to talk about momentum changing possibilities. Tail tag, anything can happen. NPCs, just someone turns in your way. You don't know. It's really tough because you jumped somewhere where you're like, all right, I'm safe here. And then all of a sudden, someone just comes out from the shadows, from the corner that you couldn't see. And then they have your tail.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And it's tough, you know, and this here tail tag doesn't have any of the yeets. We can't see the same thing that we saw last time where you can just kind of bounce yourself out of bounds and into safety. Everybody's got to play this game nice and fair and even, and anything can happen. You know, you can hold the tail for the entire minute and a half. Last 2 seconds comes around, an NPC catches you off guard. Suddenly, you're eliminated from the episode. Is everybody going to be safe here? Miggy Moan doesn't have a tail right now. Also, Melody doesn't have a tail right now. They're both going to be eliminated from the episode.
Wow. And that's what the Young Beans needed. You wanted to talk about how it looked like it was a big score gap. Now the Young Beans, it's just doing a duo. This is all you got. Can you get it crowned? You know they're praying for a jump showdown because they know they can double crown it if they get one.
Absolutely.
The other one. I was like,
Yep. We might be one more episode from a final just yet, or one more game from a final just yet. Over here, Chloe grabbing the NPCs. I love to see, like, she doesn't even care. She doesn't even care about the competition. She just grabs anybody in her way and flings them off the side. And she's doing that for a gold medal, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen. She's going for the gold. Just misses it behind Crazy Train, who had the edge on her in the race. She's just making sure that her teammate makes it in now.
Yeah, this is a tough situation, and you do love to see the aggressiveness. Like, you know, no one's safe. Even if you're an NPC, you're not safe. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm not competing against you. You have no idea that I'm in a tournament right now, but I'm gonna grab you anyway.
oh no.
And we go over to another Freezy Peak.
Ragdoll, bro.
Another Freezy
now-
Peak. Oh, and this is a little bit scary right now. Puffly Jig not getting the kind of launches that he wanted on the fan. Only 6 can qualify here, so he has to really pick up the pace and maybe cut some corners on these NPCs, or else he might not be able to qualify right now.
Yeah, cut some corners and hope that some people are gonna get just a little too aggressive on these situations with these
There's only
punches.
one guy here.
Oh no, he went for that corner cut just as we were talking, and that's gonna cost him big time. You know, if you're Eminem, you're kind of breathing a sigh of relief right now. One of their competitors, though, are moving into the finals. Yeah, this is not looking good for Puffly Jig, getting eliminated, but you know, that's still an amount of kudos over their opponents. I mean, we're all just watching Wraith now to see if he can bring home the crown and kind of bring his team back into this.
Yeah, at the very moment, they've got at least 3 medals advantage over Eminem right now. But if they can bring home the crown, we're going to be looking at a way different scoreboard than we saw after the round 1.
You know, you don't see only one competitor make it into the finals very often, so that'll be an interesting one to watch. Over here on the other side, look at this, a 17-person jump showdown. And again, this is Chloe's time to shine. This is exactly where she is in her element. With the exception of the last one, kind of some NPC nonsense bumping her around. It's happening again a little bit. You got to be careful with this many beans on the platform.
Oh, absolutely. And my eyes went straight to Chloe, and I saw that she almost got these things pushed off again.
Let's take a look quickly at this. Fall Mountain's going to be done and over with really, really quickly. Wraith is by themselves at the front of the pack against 5 other NPCs. Oh, very unlucky smack. The left side actually proving to be the strong side here. There's a blue bean up at the front of the pack, all by themselves. Are they going to be able to bring it home, or is Wraith going to bring home a crown for their team, as along with the points that go with it?
Yeah, right now, Wraith very happy that hammer hit that one ball away. Not taking the inside corner, knowing that they may be behind the blue bean, but the blue bean, something happened.
Let's go! That's right for the clutch! Let's go!
Wow.
Oh my
I don't know what happened to that blue bean.
Incredible. The blue bean must have gotten taken out on the left side. That's going to be a crown for Wraith, and bringing him right back in. Like we said, that crown is what's necessary to bring him into the competition. Be More Royal looks to be the only player left in this jump showdown as we skip back over here.
And you know what? Is that a headband I see? I instantly respect this. As someone who wears my headbands for every tournament I participate in, I gotta respect.
Absolutely. The mark of a gamer right there. And this blue fairycorn has to make the jumps, the plays to win the episode here. Still 6 people left on the jump platforms, split about 50-50. Make sure that those NPCs aren't causing problems.
Yeah, you know, right now, Royal, as much as as they feel safe staying on this inside corner, they keep looking at the egghead that keeps inching a little closer at times. And you know that they're probably just repositioning themselves, but you never know. Are they going to be that person that just randomly makes that move when I wasn't expecting it? And now it looks like they have the entire platform to themselves. They do. So now can they outlast the bullet on the other side, or potentially just share a crown with them?
Yep, it's a 1v1. Is the NPC a gamer, though? That's kind of what we have to ask here.
Oh, man. It's always these situations. They just get so nerve-wracking. You can just see the focus, too. Especially after having the opportunity in the last game to get that crown and bring it home for the team. And then, unfortunately, falling off against NPCs. You want the redemption right now.
Just jumping it out, jumping it out. Will they be able to survive against this bullet? Hopefully the patterns line up in a way that they can survive.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Whenever it's 1v1 on like separate platforms, my favorite lineup to see is the one where they're exactly across from each other, because you're both getting the same exact cycles at the same exact time. So there's no excuse. You had exactly what they had, and that's what I'm always intrigued by. But this is a situation. They're going to get bad cycles when you have good cycles, and vice versa. So like, that's a bad cycle there, but Bullet had it a little easy right there. So let's find out. You know, we're probably approaching the time where they could just double crown this with the NPC, and then they both go home happy.
Oh, but NPC's not going to be happy today. Getting launched right into the slime, leaving Be More Royal to have the crown by themselves. A little celebratory cheer.
Yep.
Oh man, I didn't know there was a crowd here.
Yeah, apparently there is. You know, even if we have to juxtapose them in, it is quarantine after all. You know, building audience by adding in those sound effects. We love to see it.
FallapaTWOza 2, brought to you in front of a live studio audience.
Indeed, yeah. It's, you know, tough competition here. I'm hearing from some sources that in the jump showdown there was a little bit of griefing going on. Maybe a stream sniper was able to sneak their way into the match and cause some problems for our teams, which is, you know, it's an unfortunate situation, and that's why here at FallapaTWOza we try and we urge our competitors rather to hide their screens. Make sure that none of the stream snipers get in, but once they're in, there's nothing we can really do about that. You got to work it to your advantage as best as you can. There's only so much we can do.
It's very unfortunate that there are some people out there that just they're like, you know, I'm not in this tournament, I'm going to try and make your life a little bit worse. And it's just unfortunate, and, you know, working around it is never easy. As someone who's had to work around it before in tournaments, I know you've had to work around it in tournaments
many times.
And you want to talk about, like, especially if they've been doing it since round 1 or 2, it's always on your mind. And that's something where I know I struggled in some tournaments where I'd be like, oh, this person's over here. I'm not thinking about the game at this point. I'm just looking at them. I'm looking at the stream sniper, not even my opponents. I'm just looking at the stream sniper. So like it's one of those situations that, how much is that going to get under your skin in a situation that shouldn't really exist either? You know, it's tough. It's a tough one to prep for.
It is. It really is like that. But, you know, as much as we want to be able to be fair and like allow a bunch of these like requeues and stuff like that, you can't predict the stream snipers. It's part of the game at the end of the day. So we got to keep moving forward. Just tough luck.
Absolutely.
Tough luck for our competitors here, getting the stream snipers. But
yeah, I'm excited to see these scores after 2 rounds. I feel like, you know, the most intriguing one to me is going to be that Eminem score, and seeing what happens with the Young Beans taking advantage of the opportunity of both Miggy and Melody getting out on the tail tag.
On the tail tag, that's right. Yeah, it was very, very early. Very, very early that Melody dropped in. They actually both went out in that tail tag, right? Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how the play works, you know?
Yeah. So Young Beans got 2 extra medals from the tail tag. They got 1 extra medal because only one made it through on Freezy Peak, and then they got the crown. And they were down 800 going into this. And something tells me I think they just got a little bit of enough to swing it into their favor.
I think you might be right. We'll have to see when the scores are the scores are finally tabulated. We're working through this right now as we speak, but you know, I want to hear your opinions, like, of these last 4 teams that we're seeing in this quarterfinal match. Is this what you were expecting? Are you surprised by any of the performances here?
Oh, this is exactly what I'm expecting. It's a situation right now. We look at the Young Beans and the Eminem matchup. We've said going into this one's going to be a tough matchup, and this one's definitely going to come down to a round 3. Whoever plays better in round 3 will be going home, or will be going to the next round. We'll be going to the semifinals. And you look at the other side. Sleeping Bear, Chloe, they're in a bit of a deficit right now. But I don't think, because of that round 1, it's not, they can overcome it, right? All they have to do is play their game, hopefully get to a situation, get the crown, get some golds. That's what they need to do right now. Sleeping Bear and Chloe need to be focusing on let's win these races, let's get these golds, and chip away at it, and then get the crown. Know you're going into the final where if we get the crown, we can win. And they've been clutch before. Can they do it again? But Gas is going to put pedal to the metal. They're going to keep it going because that's what they need to do. They don't want to see that happen. They're not going to grief as much, but I could see a little chippiness coming in, maybe.
Maybe, you know, if you're Gas, you see the lead that you've established now. It's a little bit out of Crown's reach, right? It's a little bit out of Crown's reach. They have a little bit of a kudos advantage. So, you know, maybe they look and they say, if we can eliminate our opponents right now, then it takes the potential advantage of them getting some sort of double crown in the finals out of the equation completely. So maybe that's what we do. Maybe we make that play for them so that they can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, yeah. Just waiting for some scores to be tabulated, fixing up some counts, and we'll be getting the scorecards to you right away here.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued to see. I want to see the score differences, and here they are. So we're going to look at first at the bottom right, Young Beans and M&M. The matchup to watch, the seesaw has swung to the other side, as now the Young Beans have the lead by a mere about 140 kudos, maybe just a little under. And that's something that can easily go back the other direction.
Absolutely it can. Yeah, we're only 200 kudos difference, like under that actually, like more like 150. And even though, you know, both teams have a crown right now, some players are getting eliminated kind of early, but it's going to come down to this last episode regardless. It's such a close score, it's too hard to tell. And then you look over at Gas and Baby Bear, and again, unfortunate finals for Baby Bear. It's possible that this grabber wasn't necessarily a stream sniper. You know, maybe this Chloe likes that aggressive play. She's aggressive to the NPCs and stuff like that too. So maybe they were just enacting revenge. It's impossible for us to tell, which is why we can't do another episode, right? There's so many factors that play into what is going through the minds of the NPCs that is not our call to make. So regardless of the fact, unfortunate episode for Baby Bear not being able to come home with the crown, and they're going to have to work double time in this last episode to make the win come out for them.
Yeah, and you know that Chloe and Sleeping Bear are going to be just sitting down together real quick, having a nice little pep talk with each other and being like, look, it's not over. We've proven that we can come back in these clutch situations. We got to do it again. And if you're Royal and Crazy Train, you look at the past and you say, they've made comebacks before. Don't even give them that opportunity to make that comeback. We don't want to be part of their comeback story. We just want to move on to the semifinals.
Absolutely. And we're going to see that action come underway here. Just about to start up our third episode. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this plays out. You know, the Young Beans, this kind of underdog story, taking out the top seed in the tournament, or the returning finals rather. Can they hold on, or is this going to be another clutch performance from M&M, bringing it home, taking that extra step to just edge out the other opponents, just edge them out just a little bit in order to make it into the next round? We'll see here, folks.
Yeah, and I know M&M's kind of just sitting there, and they're probably like, can we just have one comfortable victory? Can we just start running away with one of them after the first two rounds? But, you know, they've been in the situation before. They've been in the close situations, which that actually, I always think that's better to experience that, because then you're ready for it when it happens again.
Exactly. Maybe M&M plays well in this environment. Maybe M&M thrives in these clutch scenarios. Maybe this is all part of their plan. They're trying to set themselves up for these moments where they have to come in clutch. Maybe they play well under pressure, and this is all part of their plan. Who knows? But we'll find out. We'll find out soon enough.
Man, if we ever interviewed them and asked them, so did you possibly like purposely lose not team tail tag, but just tail tag to put yourself in a clutch situation because you perform better? And they said yes, I would be shocked.
Look at this. First round DoorDash. Do we see the strat? I would love to see it. Please, somebody show me the strat.
I'm craving it. I need to see this right now.
It's not happening. They're just going through the doors as normal. Nothing fancy happening. Ooh, look at this gate. Everybody kind of on the left side, and the doors appear on the right, so a mad scramble to get over. And you can see Wraith is getting kind of caught up in the traffic. Luckily, this is a first round, so he has enough time. He has enough time to get back into it. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, big break right there for PufflyJig with the second right door also being a door because they were caught behind it too. They were caught behind it too, and it looks like Wraith is going to be ahead of the pack. And then there comes PufflyJig. Some silvers and some bronzes all around. Getting a gold on DoorDash is very lucky. So that's silvers and bronzes are what we just expect.
Yeah, unless you get that one instance where you can jump off the edge, like we said before, that's kind of a guaranteed gold medal. But otherwise, yeah, gold medals are hard to come by in DoorDash. Bronze medal going to Melody, so even more kudos that they have to make up.
Here we go with a round 2 Dizzy Heights right now. And it's looking like Royal is off to just a very, very strong run with Crazy Train right behind him. And this is what we saw last time in this situation.
Yep, speedrunning kings on this level 1 and 2. Chloe right behind them, unable to get any griefing strategies going here, but
Oh, cool. I'm getting grabbed again.
yep, a little grab from an NPC, giving Chloe some business, but she's able to avoid the jump and get into the stage just fine on 4th place.
So fast, Karos. Like, these tournaments are insane now. Like, people win so fast. It's crazy to me.
Sleeping Bear can't even fathom how players are so good at this game. We got some top level competition in here, folks.
So silvers all around except for Crazy Train taking home that gold to help up their lead. And that's what we're talking about. We need to see, if you want to see Chloe and Sleeping Bear, they need to chip away at these races and start having some kudos differential in their favor before the crown as well.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
That's fine.
And another Dizzy Heights for this side of the bracket as well. And PufflyJig taking a dive off the side of the platform. Melody's right there with him, actually. These guys, maybe you'll see some griefs. Maybe you'll see them try and pull each other off the platform. Who's to say? Up at front, though, is Wraith, and he's going to be cruising for a nice, easy gold medal. And again, a situation here where more points going in the direction of the Young Beans. You know,
and we did see it there as Melody was going for the jump. She was trying so hard to walk all the way to the right to make sure that wouldn't happen. And unfortunately, it did. She still got grabbed. And that's that desync that we talk about. She knew she was still within the range of it. But she got grabbed, but she's still qualified, which is what matters. But potentially costly medal qualification there.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
One of them's already in. They're both already
Little
in.
ski fall action here. First one in is Crazy Train. I don't think getting the gold medal.
Scenario, I think
Qualifications
right now,
across the board for Baby Bear. I think maybe we're all in now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking overall. And this is the first time we're seeing this game today. And my God, I love ski fall. It's just so fun. It's simple. The only part that sucks is when you spawn back in up top. And sometimes someone will also spawn in your path. And then you just randomly roll off to the side. But it's just such a fun concept. Fast paced. Just a fun little cruise.
We do love to see a little ski fall. We also like wall guys. Now, I've asked all of my commentators this. Season 2 was a season that a lot of people had kind of polarizing opinions on their favorite game. Nobody could really decide. Wall guys is my favorite. What about you?
With my favorite game was Hoopsy Heroes. 100%.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. Wall guys, I ended up growing to like it more. But at first, I hated this game so much. Of all the times that I would grab someone else when they stopped having the grabs, like grab other players instead of the wall, it grew on me a lot more.
Yeah, when they started to fix the priority of the grabs, for sure, changed the kind of physics of the game and made it a little bit more bearable and a lot more fun.
Jimmy, stay there and wait for you, or I'm just gonna...
Melody first one across the line, and now Wraith. Is Wraith going to be waiting? Is Wraith going to stay there? No, Wraith is going to come in and get that silver medal. That's a good call right there. Miggy is going to follow, and PufflyJig, obviously nothing that he can do. All of his competitors are across the line, so they're just going to have to go in. But good medals going in the direction of Eminem this time.
Yeah, at this point, like if you see you have a silver medal and you know you have the lead, I feel like it's just very important. You know you have the lead, just take the medals. Just take it and just trust yourself in the finals if you can get there.
Now we just gotta hope for a final we can double crown it.
There you go. You can hear Baby Bear is talking strategy right now. They need to double crown in order to overcome Team Gas. If they get a jump showdown, maybe Chloe needs to think about how she's going to approach that jump showdown, you know? She's got to watch the NPCs. Maybe don't aggravate them, you know? I call it anchoring the bumblebees. When I'm playing by myself and I'm playing with NPCs, sometimes you go for a grab on an NPC and they remember, you know? They don't get scared of you. They just remember. So maybe they go and they get aggressive against you right back. So you got to be careful about who you grab and what your strategies are.
Oh, absolutely. And you heard Chloe from before that team game. She was saying the one thing we don't want to see right now is a team game. But now they get what they need to see in the jump showdown.
We need a double crown if we want to
And
win.
so if you're in this situation, I would imagine if you're on Gas, you know you have to avoid Chloe but Sleeping Bear's also very underrated. And when it comes to being able to grab people off on this, I played with Sleeping Bear a lot, and it's very good at it. He can do it. So both are threats to be able to knock you off. So this is going to be very interesting. If Gas is going to send someone on a suicide mission, grab and hold, just because if one of them falls off, you secure your victory.
That's right. That's right.
I feel like they're gonna grab just because.
Yeah, Sleeping Bear has a bit of a reputation for being aggressive as well. And I think Chloe kind of takes after that. Sleeping Bear winning a Twitch Rivals event as being one of the aggressors, you know? So he was on your team for that. And you know that's kind of his forte. That's what he's about. He just has to survive this jump showdown with Chloe in tow, get the first double crown for his team, and also in FallapaTWOza history to bring the comeback. You know, we call her Chloe Clutch. She might be able to pull it out here. Elimination already. Be More Royal is out of the competition. It's a 2v1. Crazy Train is also out. It comes down to this, but Chloe takes him out in a suicide attempt.
I'll get us a crown, though.
So it's just Sleeping Bear remaining. Will Sleeping Bear bring home the crown?
Knowing my luck, I'm gonna.
And we let's hope Sleeping Bear brings home the crown. We want to see the crown. It's unfortunate that Chloe also went down on that grab. I think that was a grab back that led to the suicide grab, and that's a great play on their part to make sure that all right, just one of them needs to go down. We just can't let up a double crown.
Yeah, it was a good call. Just a barely missed time grab on Crazy Train there, which sent them both into the slime. So no double crowns again in FallapaTWOza. We're still seeing the streak where no double crowns are happening, but it's all on Sleeping Bear's shoulders now to bring home the win for his team.
Yeah, and everyone's looking pretty passive right now. Not really seeing any grabbing going on.
Get this crown, we're not gonna move on. If I get this, the odds of us moving on are like 2%.
Yeah,
but you know what we like?
2%. We do like that 2%. You might as well go for it, Sleeping Bear.
Like we're not gonna win, which I'm fine with. That was a good tournament.
It amazes me. I feel like not even too long ago, NPCs were much more aggressive, and now it just seems like people are more like, hey, you know what? I want a crown. You want a crown. It's almost like they slowly kept learning that double crowns were a thing and that multi crowns were a thing, and they're like, you know what? Sure, I just don't want to lose. We got this far. I just don't want to lose.
Might as well bring it home. Look at this. We got a Fall Mountain over here while we wait for the NPCs to fall off the Jump Showdown platform. Let's take a look. Young Beans and Eminem all in on this on this Fall Mountain. It comes down to this. You need the crown if you're Team Eminem.
Absolutely. This is a Fall Mountain for whoever takes it. You know, first they eliminated Delete Fall Mountain, and now here it comes down to a potential of Fall Mountain to move on. And Puffly looking in a good spot right now.
Stays on his feet. Does Puffly get it? Puffly gets the crown.
Let's go,
and you can see the sadness in Miggy Moan's face as that crown gets grabbed by Puffly. They are making it into the quarterfinals.
Wow.
What a story.
Let's go. Let's go.
And you can hear the pop off.
Can you hear him chanting in the background too? We love to hear that, dude.
And that just shows they didn't throw their own party. They knew even after they eliminated the reigning champs, they wanted more. That wasn't enough for them. They want to go home, be like, we took out the reigning champs and then took their title.
And they're on their way to do just that. Top 4, baby.
It's been nice. Hope you find your paradise. Try to keep you.
Hey, Sleeping Bears.
Oh my god, they flew for so
Oh
long.
my
there's
god,
a,
how did
there's
that
a lot of
person live
desync
so
going
long?
on there. Yeah. Must have been a little server lag.
I was like, wait,
Sleeping
what
Bears
the heck's
Song of
going
Death,
on?
sending the walrus into the slime, and then the other opponent right afterwards for the crown. A little bit of redemption for a situation that they couldn't really recover from in terms of points, but you know, finishing strong, right? Finishing strong.
Look, if you're gonna go out, you're going out singing, and you're going out by rocking a ballad to that walrus until they kind of get in the rhythm of the ballad, and then they're like, "Oh wait, I have to jump over this part. Too late. You're gone." Very unique strat right there by Sleeping Bear, but it paid off.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to tabulate these new scores, and we're pretty certain of who's going to be moving on from this group, but you know, coming in clutch, both of our clutch teams from the first day are being eliminated right now. I thought that maybe we'd be in a situation where they can kind of just edge out their opponents in that last few moments, but Puffly, Jig, Wraith, Be More Royal, Crazy Train, they're all just proving that they're solid contenders and just kind of sticking their ground. They're moving on to the semifinals.
Absolutely. And these were some great matchups all around. Like when you see these scores, they're going to be close. They're going to be very close scores, and either team could have moved on, and these teams could have moved on. And it just kind of, bounced in their favor of most likely what we're speculating with Gas and Young Beans. We'll find out when we get the scorecard. But now we look ahead to that potential matchup possibly. And you're going to look at both semifinal matchups, what we have up top and then what we have down here. And whew, that's your battle for the finals. And that is not an easy one at all. I feel like we're going to be seeing some good competition next round.
Here we go to the scorecards right now, and 500 kudos separates Baby Bear and Gas. And yeah, as you saw, a double crown would have done it. Chloe did everything in her power to make it happen, but just unfortunately coming up short as a result of just the grabs. The grabs giveth and they taketh away. Wasn't able to stay on the platform with her teammate to pull out the double crown here. Still no double crowns in FallapaTWOza between competitors. We've seen one with like an NPC, but that we don't count that. We're not talking about the NPCs. We're talking about two competitors timing it out together in a jump showdown. Still hasn't happened in FallapaTWOza. Not happening in this round. And Gas is going to be moving on from that matchup.
Yeah, and then we're going to take a look at the bottom right with the Young Beans and Eminem, and it did come down to that Fall Mountain. If Miggy or Melody took home that crown, we'd be saying how they are in the semifinals. It's absolutely close matchup. Both of these came down to the round 3. If Chloe and Sleeping Bear could have pulled out the double crown, they'd be moving on. And if Miggy or Melody had grabbed that crown on Fall Mountain, they would be moving on. But that just shows how close these matches were, and it's just so nice to see. You love to see these matches that's not, oh, this is over after round 2, let's just go out there and have fun. No, pressure was on all 3 rounds, and we're going to be seeing Young Beans face off against Gas, and that's just going to be such a good matchup.
Let's take a little look at the bracket right now, and we'll see all 4 of those teams and their matchups. Semifinals action coming your way right away here. 2 Peas in a Pod and Trippin' X, 2 very dominating forces on the top half of the bracket, facing off on the bottom half. We got Gas and Young Beans overcoming our clutch teams to make an appearance in the semifinals right now.
Yeah, and you're going to be seeing, so when we see 2 Peas in a Pod and Trippin' X going against each other, both of their scores, 4,900 for 2 Peas in a Pod, and then Trippin' X with 4,800. Look, don't forget, we just had two incredibly strong performances up there before we just saw these matches. And now those 2 are going to be going against each other. How is that going to play in? Are they both going to carry their momentum? They had a little bit of downtime. What did they do in their downtime? Did they warm up? Were they playing games? Or is there way of just, let's just take it easy. Let's just chill. Let's vibe and hang out. Or are they just like let's keep plugging away? Personally, I was always the take downtime kind of player. I wasn't the one that wanted to keep playing in between my rounds and just be like, all right, let's keep it up, because I just don't want to overdo it. How about you, Dangerous? What's your strat?
Well, the thing is, plugging away is only going to get you so far, right? 4,900 kudos, 4,800 kudos. Those are 2 scores that are a result of winning crowns all the way through the contest, right? Now we're looking at a situation where you have to, both teams can win the crown the whole way through, that score isn't going to carry through all the way. So you gotta balance with your teammate. You gotta figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be very intrigued. I want to see Griffin in these semifinals. This is to get to the finals. You're not gonna just roll over now and be like, all right, we're gonna have the first 2 rounds be all right. Yeah, whoever gets there gets there. No. You get aggressive. You get your opponents when they're not expecting it, and let's see what can happen here. That would be very exciting to see. I want to see some early griefing in the semifinals.
Absolutely. Now, something to kind of keep in mind right now, all 4 of these teams are going to be playing another matchup here. The semifinals determines who plays in the finals, but also in the 3rd place match. So all 4 of these teams are in the money. They're going to be playing a couple more matchups. They're going to be playing all night long for you guys. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break before we get the semifinals action started, so don't go anywhere. Maybe just grab a refill on your water, maybe grab some snacks. Meet us back here. We'll see you in just a moment. Stay tuned.